What's going on, good people? How we doing? Happy Saturday to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good start to their weekend. Hopefully everybody is ready for Monday because the legal tampering period. The legal tampering period starts Monday. It's going to be exciting. I think the New York Giants make a lot of moves. I think we make a lot of moves. It might not be the splashiest moves, but we will be making some moves. But before we get started, let me know if the audio is good. Let me know if the visual is good. See a lot of people in the building already. Say, yeah, what's going on, everybody? Make sure you hit the like button too. You know, make sure you hit the like button. It'll let the algorithm know that we in the building, and the algorithm will let other people know that we in the building. Get all the Giants fans in here. We got a lot of things to talk about. This is the free agent preview. Shout out to everybody in the building. Got to do a quick roll call. I see everybody in here. Again, let me know if I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much. G Nation, Big Lou, what's going on, Big Lou? I got you. I got you. There's going to be a part. Yeah, I got you. I'll definitely send you the link. Hold on, let me get the quick roll call. Luann is in the building. My big brother's in the building. What's going on? Shar is in the building. What's going on? Says Dash, I appreciate all of the off-season content. Give me something great to listen to while I clean my kitchen. First off, where you at? Are you cleaning your kitchen in the dark? Or are you somewhere where it's still light outside? Let me know for sure. Because I know we got some people out there in Australia. You might be one of those people. Let me know for sure. Y'all here cleaning in the dark. My man Jarius, what's going on, Jarius? How we doing? Leo Luca is in the building. What's going on, Darian? How we doing? How we doing? Deb is in the building. What's going on, Deb? Old School Giants is in the building. What's going on, Old School? He says, what's up, Dash? Love the content. Let's go Giants. That's a fact. Let's go Giants. I don't know if I can hold, like trying to hold back the excitement. Pause for the season is crazy right now. The anticipation just with free agency is crazy. So imagine when it's time for the draft, it's gonna be wild. I'm gonna put the subjects up. We got a lot of things to talk about. I expect everybody to be active in the chat as well. There's a lot of things we're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna be asking a lot of opinions of everybody. So let's get everybody involved for sure. Clinton Jones, what's going on? T Rose, what's going on? Kelvin, what's going on, Kelvin? OP, what's going on? D, what's going on? Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody. I see all you guys, man. Machiavelli, what's going on? Maurice, what's going on? I got you, G Nation. I got you, Big Lou. My man Prime, Mark, what's going on? Michael, what's going on? Okay. Man, man Dinker, what's going on, man? How you doing? Densley, I see you. Shout out to everybody, man. David, what's going on? Vaporizer, what's going on, Vaporizer? Shout out to everybody showing love already in the building. Again, make sure you hit that like button. My man Corky in the building as well. Say good evening, Big Dash. Shout out to the Big Blue Nation. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let me go ahead and switch my screen so we can see what the topics are. We got a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to put it on. Also, let me go ahead so I can get the comments on the screen as well. Let's get the comments up so everybody can see the comments. Let's see if this works too. Let's get the talking points up. That's the most important thing. Everybody want to know what we're talking about. I put it in the post too, so you guys can see that. Let's go ahead and switch this out. All right. Again, shout out to everybody, man. We're gonna kick this thing off, man. Obviously, Bobby Okereke is gone. Saved you $9 million. James Hudson is gone. Saved you $5.4 million. Devin Singletary, not gone, though. Devin Singletary not gone, but he gets restructured. You save a little bit of money. Do we know the details? I believe it's vet minimum. So you're probably saving anywhere from $3 to $4 million on Devin Singletary as well. Somebody can correct me. But let me know, because there's some people that can still make some cap space. So I want to know in the chat, man. I want to know in the chat who else. Well, I should say, because it's a couple people that probably get cut still. Who's the next person to go? Who is the next person to go? Shout out to everybody. Corky says, sounds good. Look, thank you very much. Thank you to let me know the audio and everything is good. That guy, he read my mind. Don Devine read my mind. Wow, here's the real question. Why isn't Gano gone already? That's the real question. That's the real question. David says Slayton. It's a little bit harder with Slayton with all the money. Shout out to Coach Ed in the building too, man. I saw Coach Ed for a second. I believe I saw Coach Ed in the building. Shout out to Coach Ed Jersey in the building. New York State of Mind says, unfortunately, not Joe Shane. He is not on the list, good sir. Joe Shea, I wish he was. He is not on the list right now. He is not on the list. On that short list, though, on that short list, Gano is definitely on that list for a lot of people. Slayton is on that list for a lot of people, even though the money is crazy. Now, we can get a little bit controversial, too, because I see a lot of people saying John Runyon is on that short list. John Runyon would save you almost $10 million. Now, the question is, if John Runyon leaves, how big of a hole is that making? So we talk about all these people we want to cut to create all this cap space, but you do got to turn around and spend that money and replace all these people that you're cutting. So it's always a good and a bad and a pro and a con to everything. Shout out to my man, Coach Ed in the building. Says, Dash, I have to give a shout out to Plainfield. They beat Linden for the sectional, North 2 Group 4. He said we got them for you since they beat Union. Well, thank you for, the revenge win. I wish we would have been able to beat them. We had a good ranking, and you just gave me new. I didn't know that Union lost already. See, you keep me up. You keep me up to date. So we lost. We lost to Linden, which, unfortunately for me, in high school too, basketball-wise, basketball and football, we lost to Linden. So I see some things don't change, but I'm glad Plainfield got them. I'm glad Plainfield got them. Leo Lucas says Gano and the Scottish Hammer. I'm surprised. You know what? I'm surprised Gillen is on that. How much money is Gillen make? I didn't even look him up because I rarely think about the special teams. It's more about Graham Gano and getting that possible $4 to $5 million from him. I never really looked at Gillen's. I never really looked at Gillen's contract. Somebody let me know what he's making. But then, like I said, when we cut these people, we got to replace them. So, hey. Graham Gano, a lot of people saying Gano. Wait a minute. Steven R says Tracy gone. What you got against Tracy, Steve? What you got against Tracy? Tracy ain't do nothing to nobody. Steve said get him out of here. For what? For what? Actually, forget the list for a second, right? Forget the list for a second. I'm gonna ask people because this has become a great debate within the New York Giants fan base, and it happens to do with running back, and it has to do with Kenneth Walker. By show of hands, in the chat, by show of hands, how many of you guys want Kenneth Walker? Steve, I kind of got an idea where you're gonna go. How many of y'all want Steven? I'm sorry, how many of y'all want Kenneth Walker? Despite how much the money is, how many of y'all want Kenneth Walker? Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. Vaporizer, what's going on? He says next cuts are going to happen tomorrow, but I'm assuming they won't completely send off players and let them go unless they can solidify those positions ahead of time. They continue to adjust the cap. Yeah. Like, unlike some other teams right now, we are, fortunately, under the cap. We can make some moves. We can do some signings, but we got to be able to clear that space when the season starts. But it's not going to stop us from making moves. Having what we have right now, the space that we created, even though it's not a lot of space yet, there's still a lot of moves to be made. Like my man Vaporizer said, there's going to be more cuts. There's going to be some restructures, and most likely going to be some extensions too. Hopefully Big Dex gets his extension. Hopefully we can get Brian Burns with an extension as well, because these guys are pretty much foundational pieces for the New York Giants moving forward, even though Dex had a down year. But we still gotta be able to save some money. Stephen R says Kayvon gone. Yeah. I can see it. Money wise, I can see it. I hate to see him go, but I understand why. But again, once you solidify a room, which I believe that the outside linebacker room, the edge room is for the most part solidified. I would love to have 4 rushers. Right now, we got 3 solidified, and it's looking like Kayvon is going to be one of those bargaining chips, whether it be now, whether it be, at the draft, whether it be at the trade deadline. I'm assuming possibly the day is a number for Kayvon Thibodeau. I hate to say it because I like Kayvon the player. I like having him in the rotation for the edge, but we need some pieces. And we got to move some pieces in order to get some pieces. So I understand that. Leo Lucas says Runyon can be replaced with cheaper options. That's a fact. We're going to talk about that too. I got a nice long list of free agents, and we're going to talk about all of that. Shout out to Ram Dre in the building. He said, I was bored, then Big Dash goes live. Thanks for that. And I appreciate the love and support. Definitely appreciate the love and support. Shout out to the 147 people in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. G Nation says, got to fix the O-line, fan. That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, let me see what people got to say about. He said Holland. Ooh. You don't want Holland on the team? I think Holland plays better this year coming up. I think he will play better. Real G says, check out this defense. He says Alexander, Lawrence, Tibbs, Burns, Styles, Edmonds, Carter, Adebo, Dean. No, you spending some money. Okay, and Holland. I thought you was trying to say Holland was getting cut, but yes, that's a continuation. I mean, I like the defense, man. I do think we need some defensive line help outside of Alexander and Lawrence. But listen, if we can get Edmonds, if we can get Styles, that's fantastic. Because right now we have no linebackers, absolutely no linebackers. Will says both kickers needs to go. I mean, Graham Gano, I don't know what's taking so long. With the Graham Gano situation, I expect to hear that no later than Monday. Hopefully, it's just too much money, and also your best ability is your availability. And Gano was always hurt, and as the people here have coined the phrase, better call Sauls, talking about Ben Sauls. Go ahead, and I want to see Ben Sauls compete for the starting kicker position. You bring somebody else in for competition, let them kick it out. Let them kick it out. Stephen Arsh, you wildin'. Cut AT with the shoulder shrug. You wildin', Steve. What's in your drink tonight? Steve, what's in your drink tonight? Let me know. G Nation says Cam and Tracy 1-2 punch. That's a fact. Hyatt is gone. Nah, that's a fact. Okay, here we go. Master of Coin says no to K9, Kenneth Walker. Isaac Moore says no to K9. Okay. So that's my prime with the fist bump. What's going on, Mark? He says only for cheaper than he deserves. I don't know what the numbers are, and we don't know what the numbers are really. I've seen anywhere from $9 million to almost $14-15 million for Kenneth Walker. Somebody let me know if that's a real thing or not. But that's a crazy gap. Crazy. 9 to 15. What are we talking about? Those are two different pools you're fishing in. What are we talking about here? What does he cost? Yeah, about 9 to 15 million. Massive Coin said walk away. Stephen R says Giants are keeping 4 running backs. That's what the Ravens did. So I'm assuming we're going to do the same thing. I'm with it. For a team last year that went into some Sundays with only 2 running backs, which I thought was crazy, and we survived it, luckily. Well, not really, because we still out here losing games. But it could have been real ugly. So I welcome 4 running backs. That lets you know exactly what, Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to run the ball. I'm with it. He's going to have to change those guards if he want to run the ball, though. I'll tell you that much. Right now, the whole right side is gone. John Runyon seems to be out in a lot of people's minds as far as not being worth the money, and you can find something better on the market. Show of hands. Leo says yes. Ahmad says no. Coach Ed said no to Walker. Okay. Wills, man, you're stealing my notes, man. He's on my list. Tyler Algier is on my list. I think he is ideal for the running back rotation. Right now, it's Scatterboo, it's Tracy, it's Devin Singletary, which Devin Singletary, a lot of people going crazy over Devin Singletary. No real guaranteed money, vet minimum. You can still cut the guy at the end of the day and then find yourself another running back on top of that. So I don't see what the big deal is about Kenneth Walker. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm sorry, Devin Singletary coming back. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Pass on Walker, Ram Dre says. Gano, Neal, Wandell. Well, Neal is definitely not coming back. He's gone already. Gano, again, we want him to be released. And then Wandell. I'll save that question for a little bit later. Yes to Walker. Solitary says yes to Walker. Luann says yes to Walker. Okay, Walker fighting back. Marcus says Kenneth Walker is mid, rather draft Jeremiah Love. You rather draft a linebacker. I'm sorry, running back with the 5th overall pick, because that's where you're gonna have to take him. I don't know if you can do that, man. No knock on Jeremiah Love. Fantastic prospect, blue chip running back. I don't know, man. I don't know if you could take him at 5 with what we have already. I don't know. Man, Dinka says we should be able to get tons of speed via the draft. Yeah, man. Yeah. That's one thing that the combine didn't lack is speed. It was speed all over the place. Dinsley got enough hands for everybody with Kenneth Walker. Clinton Jones says yes. Real Gio. So it really is a 50-50 split. It really is a 50-50 split still on whether or not we want Walker or not. I got a question for you guys, right? And this is my thing, because for me, I understand if we take Walker. I understand that. But I also understand if we don't take Walker. But here's one of the reasons why I don't want Walker for the money. Once you commit that kind of dollar to Kenneth Walker, he becomes your workhorse running back, which means everybody else takes a back seat. It no longer, because the money tells you it's no longer a running back by committee. So now you got your bell cow, your workhorse running back, and Kenneth Walker getting about 80% of the carries. That's what workhorses do. And then you got Cam Scatterbull, you got Tyrone Tracy, Kevin Singletary, if he gets a jersey, or whoever else is on the team, splitting about 20% of the carries. So we're talking about Cam Scatterbull getting roughly about 6 touches a game. I'm not for that. We already know right now that Cam Scatterbull is a volume guy. The more he gets the ball, the more touches that he gets, the better he gets. And now you want to throw somebody in there that can disrupt that. Now, if Kenneth Walker is super productive, and you're willing to say, you know what, we'll just see Cam Scatterbull in the reserve role, then hey, more power to you. But for me right now, I know where the energy comes from. I know where the energy came from last year. It didn't just come from Jackson Dart. And if we're going to be really, really honest with ourselves, where did that energy come from? It came from Cam Scatterbull on both sides of the ball. Because when the offense was out there, the defense was watching what Cam Scatterbull was doing. And when the defense was out there, Cam Scatterbull let these guys know what was going on. And every commercial break and every timeout, you saw what Cam Scatterbull was. I saw that man as a rookie snatch Russell Wilson by a collar in the second game and said, let's go. Yeah, we know where the leadership is. Let's not mess things up. That's just my opinion. Not saying that anybody else is wrong at all with the way that you guys are thinking. Shout out to my man Tony Owens in the building. Said, Big Dash, what's good, my G fam? What's going on to the Big Blue Nation? Shout out to everybody again. My man Prime said, nah. Ramdre said Pacheco is a better option in my opinion. A better option for the Giants as far as fitting into the room, or just a better player than we talking about Pacheco. Stephen R says K9 on Pacheco. I can't even put these guys on the same board together. And shout out to Pacheco. Shout out to the Jersey native. Shout out to the Rutgers alum. But he's not, he's not better than Kenneth Walker, man. Let's be honest. Luann said would love to have Max Crosby. Max Crosby's gone. He's gone to the Ravens. Yeah. The Ravens got one with Max Crosby for sure. The problem is their issues fall on the offensive side. Their defense was pretty solid last year. It was the offense doing, or I should say the lack of offense, that caused, the Ravens some of their losses. And then also, Lamar missed a lot of games as well. The guy says, if anything, go cheaper with ETN. I don't know. I got ETN on my list right here. How much is ETN asking for? Where's my running back list? I got papers all over the place here. You got running backs, ETN. Oh, they don't have a number for ETN yet. That's crazy. Do they have one? Nope, they don't have a number for ETN. He's on the list though, but I didn't see a market value. I would have wrote it down with the rest of my notes. Man, Dickens says, are we staying in the 3-4? Yes, we are. Shout out to my man T. Gree with the $1.99 super chat. He says, Mike Washington out of Arkansas. Mike, listen, man. Mike Washington was on my sleeper list. He goes to the combine. He runs a 4.33 40, and he is no longer a sleeper. He goes from being a mid-round guy, like a 5th rounder, to possibly going as high as the 3rd round now. If somebody else is crazy enough to go in the 2nd, I don't think that happens for sure, but he definitely made himself a day 2 pick in my opinion. But he was a day 3 guy, got to the combine, ran a 4.3 40 at 6'2", 220-something pounds. And yeah, I think our dreams of getting somebody like Mike Washington are over. because he was definitely one person I wanted to keep, under the rug, to try to stash him and see if we can get him, in the mid rounds. Stephen R says Crosby overrated. I would love the Eagles. No. You don't want that man out there. No. It says Crosby overrated. I would love if the Eagles get him because Jalen Carter would be gone. Oh, you're saying they would trade Jalen Carter for Crosby? Well, they didn't have to do that. Again, Crosby is a Raven, so we ain't even gotta worry about that. Not in the NFC East. That's funny too, because I was talking to a coworker yesterday, Eagles fan, and he was all over getting Max Crosby. And I was like, I don't want that man in the NFC East. I really don't. Because it was Dallas. They were talking about Dallas possibly getting them, or Dallas just didn't want to put up a package deal that was good enough, for the Raiders. And then they talked about the Eagles possibly being interested. And then he finally went, to the Ravens, and I had a sigh of relief. Prentice said, Dash, what happened to Turbo Miller? They didn't put him on the field. That's what happened. Even at the end of the season, when they decided to give him a jersey out of pity, because we were screaming for Turbo Miller, especially those weeks when we only dressed 2 running backs. They didn't do it. That's what happened. That's what happened. He didn't get on the field. Nobody got a chance to see him. Similar to the tight end, Thomas Fidone. Didn't get on the field. Nobody got a chance to see him. So now you got people talking about wanting to sign Travis Kelce. Man, Travis Kelce got 1 foot in the grave, in my opinion, respectfully. I don't know, man. I don't know. Leo Lucas also said we could focus on secondary, beef up the defense, a linebacker, wide receiver, offensive line, and stick with the running backs we have. Well, Harbaugh wants 4. Harbaugh's going to get 4. Frenchie said Ben Sauls is here. Gano. Yeah, we getting people up out of here. Again, shout out to everybody. If I don't get to all of the comments, I do apologize. Old School Giant says no to Walker. Okay. OG said it. Old School Giant said it. No. Maybe that's interesting right there. Corky brought up Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, he fits that mold again. I'm high on Tyler Algier for the room. Again, when I think about these free agents, obviously a lot of people go towards the big names, the people that with the wow stats and stuff like that. When I think about free agency, I think about how the fit is going to be with the New York Giants. So for me, let me move this mic back a little bit. So for me, when it comes to the running back room, it's like, okay, we got Scat, we got Tracy, we got Devin Singletary. Am I looking for somebody to take over? Or am I looking for somebody that can fit in that room and give us something a little bit different, something the same? Because you don't want to tip your hat on what you're going to be doing. But I like Rico Dowdle. The only thing with Rico Dowdle is this: he had a taste of success in Carolina, being the guy at Carolina. Is he willing to go back into that running back by committee role? Because we saw once, who was it, Chuba Hubbard? When Chuba Hubbard came back and then Dowdle's snap started to go down, he was a little bit disgruntled. Paul, what's going on, Paul? Paul says, Dash, do you expect a winning season in 2026? I'm thinking not with this many holes. Paul, right now, you gotta ask John Harbaugh that question, because from what I'm getting and what I'm hearing and what we're reading and seeing and some of the things or some of the moves the Giants are trying to make, I think Harbaugh wants to win right now. Like we can say whatever we want to say. Harbaugh wants to win right now. So for me, I'm gonna ride the Harbaugh wave. Harbaugh said we winning this year, then we winning this year. I'm riding. And then if we if the train goes off the rails, then it is what it is. We've been there before. We're not strangers to that. But for me, I'm gonna keep it live. Definitely gonna keep it live. Keep the support up too. Shout out to Dixon. Dixon with the $2 super chat says, salute to my New York Giants family. Salute to you. Shout out to Dixon in the building. My man Mark Thompson in the building. What's going on, Mark? Said good night, Dash. Good night to all. That's that. What's crazy, Mark? I always thought it was funny because every time you join, you say good night, and I always think you're leaving. But that's your way of saying hello. What's up? How's everybody doing? Stephen R says defense energy came from Tay. It came from Tay Banks. Got jokes. Oh man. Is it Mr. Cash says Travis Etienne, please. I like the versatility of Etienne. I like, and that's the one thing about this running back room right now. They don't show their hand when when they're in. No matter if it's Tracy, if it's Scatterbull, if it's Devin Singletary, all three of those guys can run and also can receive out of the backfield. So I like to keep it that way. It's not like when you and even though Brand like we get Brandon Jacobs in the game, you pretty much know you're running the ball. But also, Brandon Jacobs got a couple receiving touchdowns too. So it is what it is. But I don't want any tells, man. Give me a running back that's not going to be a tell. And also give me a running back that can pass protect. And I don't know how good Travis Etienne was as a pass blocker. Is he a willing blocker? I don't know. I don't know. Man, Dinka says, were there any 100-yard games by Scatterbull? I believe he did not have a 100-yard game. I believe he was close. Actually, there was one game where he was close to 100, and I think they tried to force him the ball, but I don't know if he got it. I can't actually. Let me check right now. Let me check right now to see, since Google is a real thing. Since Google is a real thing, we can get that right away. I don't think he did. I'm checking right now, live time. Let's go ahead, fact checker. Okay, yeah, week 6 against the Philadelphia Eagles, he had 100. He had 100 yards from scrimmage though. 100 yards from scrimmage, not 100 yards rushing. So he got a 100-yard game, not just rushing though. Week 6 Eagles game. Mark says, Dash, that dude Eric McAllister is cold. He'll be with he'll be there in the 5th round. I think so. I do think so. Dowdle or Dobbins. I saw that Dobbins got released today. I think I saw that today, that Dobbins got released. Oh, Joe Edwards says, Dash, you think Styles will be there at the 5th pick? I hope so, man. That's the way I'm leaning. I'm leaning Styles, man. I've been leaning Styles, so I hope so. I really do. I really do. All right, Jacoby Lane, that's a real one. Shout out to my man Tatu Vibe in the building. Will says, as Jersey fans, we can all look at the Bears and their O-line upgrades, making Monungai look like a quality back. Forget looking like a quality back. He showed that he was a quality back. Says the juice isn't worth the squeeze for K9 at that cost. Now I agree with you. 100%. I'm not with it. I'm not with spending that much money. Again, it's not because he's not talented. It's because what happens to the rest of the room. But at the end of the day, I have not seen the new New York Giants yet. I have not seen a Harbaugh-led New York Giants team, so I don't know what to expect. I'm still going off of the past and what I would like to see, and it might not be what Harbaugh wants to see at all. But let's talk about some of these running backs right now. And we could do yay, nay, off the list is fine with me. So obviously Kenneth Walker, anywhere between 10 million to 14 million. That's his market value. Rico Dowdle, 6 to 8 million market value. Tyler Algier, running back from Atlanta, backed up Bijan Robinson, $5 to $6 million. Kareem Hunt, familiar with Matt Nagy, $2 million. Rashad White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, $3 million. Kenneth Gainwell, Travis Etienne. There's a host of names, but that's just a list of guys that I wrote down that, kind of interested in, want to follow and see what happens. Shout out to Michael Knight in the building. Said, what's good, Dash? What's going on, Michael Knight? So you see those names. Kenneth Walker, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier, Kareem Hunt, Rashad White, Kenneth Gainwell, Trevor Etienne, all on my list of names that we could be possibly getting as soon as Monday. And I know we're all excited for that. C. Mula says, everyone thinking the Giants fans, everyone thinking like Giants fans of late, this team is about to change. Oh yeah, it's about to change, man. Just the offense alone, just off of the free agents alone, we're talking about seven to 8 holes. If we don't bring all these people back, that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Daniel Duran says ETN would be a good complement to a backfield made of Scat, Tracy, and Singletary. Different skill sets, but price will be probably or the price will be probably too high. Again, I haven't seen a market value for ETN yet. That was this morning though. I didn't check again this afternoon. They make updates throughout the day, so they might have got an update for ETN. So I'll check that out a little bit later to see. And shout out to Daniel says love from Brazil. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Brazil. Now, there is a sneaky, I don't even know if it's sneaky, but there's a nice size of Giants fans in Brazil, to the point where we got our own Giants channel repping from Brazil. So shout out to the love and support that we're getting from, other countries. Shout out to Brazil. Stephen R says Crosby could have been in the East, and Burns is still the best pass rusher in the East. I'm with it, man. Listen, the way that we look at our players, we got rose-colored glasses on. A little bit. Twist Your Dream says Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver in round 2. Who was that put that mock draft out and had us taking Jerry Bernard in the second round? Dane Brugler. I think it was Dane Brugler that did that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Bernard. Big fan of Jeremy Bernard. He ran a pretty good time for the 40. He's a little bit thicker of a wide receiver. Some people put a comparison to Deebo Samuels. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't take it that far. But he's a quality back. I don't know if he goes at 37 though. 37 is kind of high. I know Dane Brugler put that out there. I'm not mad at it because I'm a fan of Jeremy Bernard. But we got to see, man. It's going to be some good wide receivers out there for sure. Stephen R says Travis Kelce or Likely or Njoku. I don't know how much I like Njoku. You got to stay healthy. We already got a tight end room that's dealing with injuries already. Like Theo Johnson has issues staying on the field. Thomas Fedoni on the IR to end the season. That's it. That's all we have. I expect us to get a tight end on Monday, or at least have some rumors for tight end on Monday. And you know what? That'd be a good time to talk about these other tight ends. Luann says negative fans. Nah, it's not even that. It's not even that. Some people got to see it to believe it. We've been losers for a long time. And some of us, again, and I'm one of the more positive people. And even I got to take a step back sometimes and tell myself to relax, chill out. We got to see this thing play out. So I'm not mad at anybody that wants to see it first, because again, I jumped out a window and landed on my face a few times with these New York Giants. Again, shout out to everybody in the building. 200 people in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. The algorithm is working. It is a family reunion for the Big Blue Nation for sure. Rev, what's going on, Rev? Rev says, I'm standing on the mountain with the coach. Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Phil, what's going on, Phil? Shout out to Phil with the $10 super chat. Says, Dash, nobody had any idea about the McDuffie offer. Not a peep till it was done. Now everyone is on K9. Then we re-signed Singletary. So far, nobody's been close with all of the inside info. No more leaks. All caps, 100%. 100%, man. And you know what? That's absolutely true. Now, a lot of people are talking about the Giants and Sonny Styles. I'm hoping that's true. But to your point, when that McDuffie news came out, and all of a sudden we found out it was between, us and them, and they ended up getting them, I was like, okay, that made me, actually, I should say that solidified for me that, yeah, Harbaugh's trying to go after it. And he's not trying to waste any time. He's already taken us all the way to West Virginia for training camp. We out there in the Shining Hotel. Shout out to, who was that? Shout out to Justin Pinnock. I saw him do the clip of the hotel that the New York Giants will be staying at. And then he said it looked like The Shining. I also thought it looked like The Shining too. Put that in the tweet. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that hotel is ugly. Like the inside, the interior. And then I realized how old the hotel was. And I said, okay, makes sense. It's ugly hotel though. Ugly. On the inside. Outside looks like the damn White House a little bit. Isaac, shout out to Isaac. He says, let's go, people. Match the likes for Dash. Nah, it is what it is. Shout out to everybody. Again, hit the like button. It does more than you know, man. It does more than you know, especially for the Giants content creating community. It does a lot. It absolutely does a lot. Let's see. T Gree with the $4.99 super chat says, only if Joe Mixon was healthy, he would have been a good. That's not a bad name. Despite some of the off the field stuff, as far as his production on the field, that wouldn't have been a bad name. Now, again, you have somebody who has been the man before, coming to a situation where he has to be now running back by committee. Does he really mesh? That's my only question when it comes to Mixon, for sure. Again, Kareem Hunt is on my list. Man, Deacon says Kareem Hunt would look nice in Giants blue. The reason why I pick certain players too, man, because again, if they're trying to fast track this thing, they're going to need to get some players in here that are familiar with the system, whether it was some players from Chicago under Nagy, whether it's some players from Kansas City with Nagy. you want to get some people that are familiar with either the verbiage or just the place, the calling, the scheme. And there's some names on my list of some free agents. Now you know what, we're gonna skip around. I'm going all the way to the bottom of the comments. Shout out to my man Born for Sports in the building. Fantastic New York Giants content creator. If you're not follow my man Born for Sports, make sure you go ahead and do that. Obviously, you know what? Shout out to my man Jorge. Shout out to Born for Sports. Shout out to the 330 crew too. It's some fantastic Giants content creators in the building too. My man G Nation is in the building. My man Coach Ed is in the building. My man Leo Luca is in the building. I see you with your shorts, Leo Luca. Always putting out the shorts with some information. So it's a lot of fantastic, some guys under the radar, Giants content creators out here. Make sure you guys show your love and support. Why can't we have a content community as strong as the Dallas Cowboys or as strong as the Philadelphia Eagles? Because these guys be out here collabing and doing all that stuff. Why can't we do it? So shout out to everybody. Shout out to the content creators. Shout out to the Big Blue Nation all together. Ahmed said tight end Likely from the Ravens. I got Likely. What's Likely's numbers? Likely's market value right now, $9 million. That's not bad, man. For what he brings, that's not bad. We do need a receiving tight end. We need a tight end, period. We possibly need 2 tight ends. I still want to bring Bellinger back. Actually, that's going to be my next question. Shout out to Eric James in the building. Shout out to Pete 2715 in the building. He says because we watched Jameis his entire career, he's up and down like no other. Okay. I'm gonna get to Darnell Mooney too, because he's on my list too since they just released him. I got a question, man, for everybody. Just a simple yes or no. Are you bringing back Daniel Bellinger? He doesn't have to come back to be your tight end 1. That's fine if he's not your tight end 1. I just need another tight end with versatility on this roster. He's gonna be cheap. Fullback, tight end, H-back. Let me know. Daniel Bellinger. Yes, just a simple yes or no. Daniel Bellinger, are you bringing him back? What's the number for Daniel Bellinger? The market value for Daniel Bellinger is, where's my tight end list? Daniel Bellinger, $2.5 million for Daniel Bellinger on a 1-year deal. That means 2 years you probably get him for $5 to $6 million. Give him a little bit extra. How we feel about that? I'm gonna wait for those comments to come in. Shout out to Tahon 23s71 with the $5 super chat. Make sure I said that right. Tahan? Is it Tahan? Let me know for sure. He says the Giants don't need to pay for another running back. We never even used Turbo Miller. What they need is continued O-line improvements. 100%. 100%. I put out a tweet, and it might have been on, and this was before we cut James Hudson. We kind of had a feeling James Hudson was getting cut anyway. But I put out a tweet while we still had James Hudson. I said we need 5 new offensive linemen. We need 2 starters, and we can include, Jermaine Illuminor, because right now he's not under contract. So if you want to, we need 5. We need at least 5 new offensive linemen. We need 2 starters. Depending on what happens with John Runyon, we might need 3 starters, and then we need 3 reserves. Right now that offensive line is not where it needs to be, especially for the aspirations that John Harbaugh has. We need 5 of them at least, and that's before we even get to the draft. 5. Just think about that. And we talk about all this money, wanting to spend all this money on like a Tyler Linderbaum, who's asking for $20 to $25 million. We won't know until Monday when somebody, because he's probably going to be one of the first people signed or rumored to be, agreed to terms. $25 million. You know what you can get for $25 million? You can probably get 3 offensive. You can probably get Jermaine Illuminor, Wyatt Teller, and like a Tevin Jenkins for that money. For the $25 million you would pay, Tyler Linderbaum. But let me get back to see what people say about Daniel Bellinger. Okay, Massive Coin said yes. Unknown said yes. Skate said yes. Who you talking about? 23 million? Who you talking about, Chris? Let me know who you talking about. I might have missed that one. Renee says no to Bellinger. Twist Your Dream says yes to Bellinger. Pure says yes. Michael is hand clapping, so I'm assuming that's a yes. Mandinka says yes. Isaac says, no, how cheap? $2.5 million, Isaac. $2.5 million to a tight end who's most likely going to end up being your tight end 2, and then depending on what happens with Theo Johnson, going to give you some tight end 1 snaps. Depending on what happens. And I don't think we draft one. I think we do get one in free agency. But Daniel Bellinger is a solid player to me for the cheap. Ramble says yes. Sean, shout out to Sean. He says yes. Rev says yes, yes, yes. Leo says yes. Jarius says yes. Shout out to everybody in the building. Again, make sure you hit that like button. I see the yeses. Kenya, yes. T. Ram Dre, yes. Okay, yes, sir. Got a yes, sir. 2.5 million. That's what I'm saying. That's Spotrac. That's their market value, $2.5 million. But again, that seems like the right number. It seems like the right number to me. Shout out to Donna King. Donna King's fan. Oh, okay. We got to show respect. Fans since 55 get Alex Webster. So first off, shout out to Donna. Shout out to Donna being a fan since 1955. Show the OG some love and respect in the chat. Shout out to Donna. Shout out to Donna. I know you got some stories. Isaac Moore says, we don't use him right anyway. Talking about Bellinger? I understand. I understand. It's a whole new coaching staff, though. It's a whole new coaching staff, and we know for sure when it comes to Matt Nagy, he uses a tight end, whether it was in Chicago or it was in Kansas City, even though the whole thing is he wasn't calling plays really in Kansas City. The whole point is they know how to use tight ends. We saw it in Chicago. We saw it in Kansas City. For me, he'll get the best out of Daniel Bellinger, in my opinion. I do want to see Daniel Bellinger back. The crazy thing is Gunnar Olszewski got a deal before Daniel Bellinger. That's crazy to me. Because you're not really in a rush to get Gunnar Olszewski. What I say? I said Gunnar Olszewski. Yeah. You're not in a rush to get Gunnar Olszewski signed, but, it is what it is. Mark Thompson says, hell yeah, I'm bringing him back. Shout out to my man, Mark Thompson. Charles Thompson says, thoughts on Harold Perkins and tight end Stowers. I like Harold Perkins. Can he stay healthy? He's a little bit light. Was he 6 foot, about 225 pounds? He's good side to side. Could get caught up in the wash a little bit. I have not watched the tight end Stowers. To tell you, I've been reluctant in watching tight ends. I watched, was it Bentley? I watched Tanner Koziel, but I haven't watched too many tight ends, so I didn't get a chance to look at Stowers. That's just me showing, true transparency. I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I saw somebody when I didn't. Tie on 23s. There you go. I got you. Tie on 23s. I got you. Perfect. Kelvin says, I met Belly aunt and uncle. You know what's funny? Me and Daniel Bellinger's pops on Twitter go back and forth a little bit. So not back and forth in a negative way, because I show a lot of support for Daniel Bellinger, and his pops hit me in the DMs like, yo, thank you so much for supporting my son. I was like, listen, I like Daniel Bellinger a lot. I see the potential, saw the potential, and see the potential. I said he forever got a fan in me. So shout out to Daniel Bellinger's pops, man. Old School Giant says yes. William says yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Does it happen though? That's the question. Does it happen? I saw some other people talking about cutting certain players too. They threw out the name Roy Robertson Harris, defensive tackle. I forgot how much money he would save you. I think it's like $3 million. I might be by myself. Because obviously you can't gut the entire team. And then you have to look at these people a certain way. For me, if you tell me Roy Robertson Harris as a starter, I'm like, no, he's a rotational guy. You can't gut this entire team in the name of just creating cap space. Some of these guys can play, and some of these guys will play better in a better scheme. We saw that at the end of the season. You get Shane Bowen out of here. Charlie Bullen comes in. Even though it was the end of the year, these guys played a little bit better. They responded better with more aggressive scheme. Renee says Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller is on my listen. I'm working on a video. It is my free agency wish list. Wyatt Teller is on my free agency wish list. Another guy that's on my free agency wish list, it was Leo Chanel. Then some other linebackers became available, like Edmonds. And I'm like, okay, but I like Leo Chanel a lot. I like Leo Chanel when he came out of college. But Wyatt Teller, getting back to your point, Renee, Wyatt Teller is on my list of must-haves, must-gets for the New York Giants. Obviously, our offensive line coach came from Cleveland. Wyatt Teller is from Cleveland. I'm hoping that we can get Wyatt Teller here. You get Wyatt Teller, he becomes a day one starter for you. He is older. He probably got a good 2 years left in his tank. I would still draft offensive lineman day 3 in the draft, but we got to bring some people in here. Renee also says Vera Tucker. Now, it depends on how much Vera Tucker is going to cost. Do I got Vera Tucker on my list? I do not have Vera Tucker on my list because I didn't like the injuries. And I don't know how much he's going to cost. And then also, if you get Vera Tucker, you're going to need some extra insurance for Vera Tucker. Chris says, why does no one want Zeitler? First of all, Zeitler is 75 years old. But I will say Zeitler played well last year. Zeitler, what is he, 37? I think he's 37. I don't mind Zeitler. I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't be surprised if we picked him up. But that's probably why nobody's really talking about him, because he's old. He's old. And we've been doing old, but he's quality and old. So, take it with you what you want. Let's see. Are we gonna have a fullback? I'm assuming so. But again, we can't think of it as a Todd Monken type of offense. We have to think of it as a Nagy type of offense. And a true Nagy offense, not a Andy Reid / Kansas City / Nagy offense. Now, when you go to Chicago, did Nagy use a fullback? Did the Kansas City Chiefs use a fullback? That's the question. We don't know yet. There's still a lot of questions, man. And if anybody tells you with any kind of certainty what the Giants are going to do, they might be lying a little bit. There might be a couple crystal balls on tables, and we can say, yeah, we think this is going to happen. I say it and do the same thing, but I don't know. Jose Cruz says, keep doing what you're doing, bro. He said, you're effing awesome. Now, I appreciate that, man. I do appreciate that, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Again, we're still 200 strong. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the Big Blue Nation. Dinsley says, Tyler will be a Giant on Monday. Just a feeling. Dinsley. And this question is only for Dinsley. So Dinsley, I need you to react pretty quickly, hopefully. How much? What's your cap on Tyler Linderbaum? Where do you stop? Because we've heard 20 million, we've heard 22 million, and now you're hearing rumors of 25 million. So we don't know for sure. But where do you stop? Where do you stop that money at? Where's your hard no? Let me know in the comment section. Dinsley, let me know. Like when do you where's the cutoff at for Tyler Linderbaum? Fantastic run blocker. A little bit undersized. Wants to be the highest paid center in the league, but he's not the best center in the league. I can name 2-3 more centers better than him. But I understand he's the hottest name on the market. Like Creed Humphreys. Creed Humphreys better. Stowers has hops. I got to look at Stowers. Is Stowers Vanderbilt? Is that Vanderbilt, the guy from Vanderbilt? Somebody let me know if Stowers is a guy from the tight end from Vanderbilt. Pete says Kolar is not a secret, though. He's going to get paid. Kolar really didn't do much. Well, he didn't really do much for Baltimore, man. I don't think it's going to be a high price for Charlie Kolar. I like Charlie Kolar coming out, too. But I don't know if he's going to cost a lot of money. Renee says Kolar is better than Bellinger. I'm a little biased. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little biased when it comes to Daniel Bellinger. I'm a little biased. Luann says Bellinger has better hands than Theo Johnson. Yeah, that's not even the debate. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Chris says we're in no position to be shopping tight ends. We've done that too much already. I don't think we draft one at all, but we have to. right now it's literally Theo Johnson and Thomas Fidone. So whether you like it or not, man, we are in the tight end market for sure. We are shopping for tight ends. It's just not a top priority at all. At all. I would say right now, obviously the offensive line is top priority. After that, it was wide receiver. It was wide receiver after that, but it's absolutely linebacker after all. Our linebackers right now is one person, Darius Moore-Sow. Darius Moore-Sow. Some say Fidone's in the back rooms. That's hilarious. Fidone is in the back rooms. Yeah, we can't find him. We can't find him. He is in the back rooms. That's a perfect place for him. And I like Fidone. Wish we got a chance to see him. All right, hold on. Renee says Vera Tucker might come cheaper off injury. That's the problem, though, the injuries. He can't stay healthy. That's the problem. That's the only problem, because he's quality. When he plays, he plays. He just can't stay healthy, man. That's a problem for me. Big problem. I'm trying to go. You know, I'm trying to get this thing going. I'm trying to get this ship steered in the right direction. I'm trying to win. Rev says, let it be Elijah Chapman at fullback. We're at the mercy of John Harbaugh. Again, and I catch myself doing this too, Rev. Like there's certain players that we have certain ideas for. Like Elijah Chapman, we're like, okay, well, it really doesn't work out for him being a defensive tackle. He played a little bit of fullback in college, and then we saw him get a couple of lead blocks, and he looked fantastic doing it. But can he be the guy that they're looking for? Can he be like the Ricard in Baltimore? It's possible, but they got to feel that way. I know how we feel about him. Like, I love the story of Elijah Chapman. I love the story. I would love for him to be successful. I would love for him to find a home, but he got to put in the work. And you know, he got to prove that on the field. Renee says, I want him for 18. Love getting. You're not getting him for 18. I'm sorry. Linderbaum let it be known. If he was accepting 18, he would have got re-signed with the Baltimore Ravens. He would have got. I heard 20, then I heard 22, and then I'm hearing 25. I'm not paying Tyler Linderbaum $25 million. I'm sorry. We like literally on Monday morning, the New York Giants offensive line is going to be, and starting offensive line is going to be Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, question mark, and then question mark. That's our offensive line. I'm not spending $25 million on Linderbaum when I already got a center. Maybe not the best center. Maybe not even a solid center, but I got a center. And then I got the question marks at right guard and right tackle. And we can say Marcus Bo can step in at right tackle. That's cool, but then I need a swing tackle. So we got holes to fill. So I'm not paying Linderbaum $25 million. If Linderbaum wanted $20 million, then I'm picking up the phone. I'm like, hey, let's get something done. That extra $5 million, that's an entirely different player. That's another starter on the offensive line. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Especially when you're not even that good of a pass blocker. And I understand that, you know, the idea is to run the ball more, which is perfect for Linderbaum, but I expect us to pass the ball too. Solo King says anything after 20 million is a cutoff. That guy says 20 million. It's like, it's a lot of money, man. Pete says, I got a feeling about Linderbaum, a 5-year, $110 million. Good Lord. Some of you gonna, no, he's really asking for a lot of money. He's going to set the market for centers, for sure. Stowers is a guy from Vanderbilt. Okay, thank you. I'm not totally off. But no, I haven't. Actually, because I did watch a little bit of Diego Pavia, but that was just watching games. Yeah, I don't remember the tight end like that. Luann says, like I said earlier, I'm glad I saw this channel pop up on my YouTube and I decided to check it out. I'm glad I did. I appreciate that. Again, I appreciate the love and support. Shout out to you, Luann. You've told that story before. I appreciate you. Whose video did I pop up on? Or you said it was your timeline? Were you watching somebody's video and then I popped up? Usually a lot of people come from like Fireside Giants. I heard people say Fireside Giants. I heard some people say Giants Nation. For the people that have been riding with me for a while, talking Giants, they see me pop up from those shows. Bad Dog, Chris when Chris the Entertainer, when he was putting out stuff too. So, and Cop Pizzle, my man too. So, so shout out to everybody, man. No matter how you found me, I'm glad you found this channel. I'm glad you found your Giants family. Hopefully everybody feels that love too. Corp with the $20 super chat. Salute to you. Thank you very much for the love support. He says, I noticed that the Finns have 3 third-rounders, while New York Giants have 3 6-rounders. The Finns don't have a 6, and New York Giants don't have a third. I see what you're doing. Would you offer a trade Kayvon and a middle 6 to acquire the Finns' middle or last third round? I want a third rounder, and I will not sell Kayvon Thibodeau. And that's crazy just to use those type of words. But I'm not giving up Kayvon Thibodeau for anything less than a third rounder. I've heard people say 4. I'd rather keep Kayvon than trade him for a 4th rounder. I'm being absolutely honest with y'all. I'd rather have him on the field in a rotation than to trade him for a 4th rounder. I promise you that. I promise you that. If you're worried about the cap hit, if you feel like Kayvon Thibodeau is in the plans, if John Harbaugh feels or Denard Wilson feels like, you know what, I can do something with Carter, Burns, and Tibbs, all you got to do is give him a contract and extension, and you'll knock that cap hit down. Now, what happens after that happens after that. But there's ways to have Kayvon Thibodeau on the roster. But to your point, Court, it would have to be a third or better for me to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau, or would have to be a pick and a player, a position of need for me to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau. So at the end of the day, you do have he's already been replaced with Abdul Carter for the most part, respectfully. Again, as far as the starter goes, he started a year. He got hurt. Abdul Carter, came in, did a fantastic job towards the end of the season. And right now, it's Burns and it's Abdul Carter, and then Kayvon Thibodeau would be that guy that rotates in. So for me, my number one guy coming off the bench in the rotation, I need a third rounder for that, because he's going to be a starter where he goes, most likely. He can start for a lot of teams, I think, hopefully. It's just that we have Burns and we got Abdul Carter, and we saw what Burns did this year, and we got an idea of what Carter can be. Reese bringing up Jake Kubas. Jake Kubas is a right guard. Jake Kubas, I like Jake Kubas. I do like Jake Kubas. UDFA, he got to prove himself some more. He got a couple of snaps this year, but he spent most of the season on the practice squad. He couldn't beat out Stinney. He couldn't beat out who was it? What's his that? Not a Debo. What's his name? Azudu. He couldn't beat out Azudu for a spot on the 53. He couldn't beat out Aaron Stinney, so he's on there. But I like Kubas. I like Kubas a lot. I like Hudson too. Brian Hudson, the center. I like him a lot too. Another UDFA. It's going to be some people on this 90-man roster that are going to get a shot to make this 53. But we still got to add a lot of people. He said, "Don't forget about Authentic." I can't forget about Authentic. So if you came here from Authentic and the Beard, shout out to you too, man. Now shout out to my man Authentic. Shout out to the Beard. We got a community here, man. And it's not just them. It goes a lot deeper than that too, man. You see the people that are in the chat right now. You see some people that fly under the radar that make fantastic Giants content. I'm gonna get that link out to you guys soon too, man, because we're gonna add some people on. We already got through the first hour. I do want to answer a lot of questions though before we actually, get into a full-on debate. So, all right. So we went off track, and I'm sorry, and I apologize to everybody. I got to get back on track. We're gonna get back to some of these questions. You see the information on the screen. These are the talking points. So, the big three, the big three. Obviously they got the nickname the Big Three. So we're talking about Jermaine Illuminor, Cordell Flott, Wan'Dale Robinson. If you can only have one of these guys back, Cordell Flott, Jermaine Illuminor. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Let's switch it. If you can guarantee two of these guys back, because makes it a little bit harder, right? Pause. Wan'Dale Robinson, Cordell Flott, Jermaine Illuminor. If you can only pick two, if you only can pick two, which two are you keeping and who's walking? Let me know in the comment section, man. Just a question. Renee says, I keep Kayvon. He's my guy. I like Kayvon a lot, man. And he's putting in the work. One thing about Kayvon Thibodeau, he puts in the work. Every time you see him post on either Instagram or Twitter, mainly Instagram, he's working out. He's absolutely working out. Pete says Jermaine. Corky says Illuminor and Flat. Charles says got to sign back JE. Talking about Jermaine and Wandell. Let's see. Oh, you guys are zooming now. Jermaine. Don Devine says Wandell and Jermaine. Mo says Flat and Jermaine. A Dad's Life said Illuminor Flat, not even a question. JG says Jermaine and continue to grow. Marcus Bow, that's a fact. JG also says Flat not going to fit the press scheme. That's a good call right there. That's a good call. I think he can do it, but how efficient he is in doing it might be a problem because he is light. That's the one thing about him. He's light. Real G says Jermaine and Flat. Reese says let them walk. We need a new identity. You gonna let them all walk, Reese? All of them? All of them, Reese? Kenya says I would trade Tibbs for a fourth rounder if they take I'll take the fourth, but you got to take Slayton with you with the contract. That's crazy. Kenya, yeah. If they take that Slayton contract, you might have a deal. You might have a deal. Renee says, I'm assuming that's Illuminor. He says, keep and use money for Linderbaum. Wait a minute. He says, keep and use money for EL keep. And then use the money for Linderbaum. So you still want Jermaine. I mean, you still want Tyler Linderbaum, even if it costs you $25 million. Sean says, keep Flat Jermaine. Jarius says, buy Wandell. C. Rob says, Illuminor and Flat, let Wandell walk. Illuminor Flat from Leo Luca, Jermaine and Wandell from Rev. HQ says it looks on IG, but we need that same work. It looks good on IG. Now I get you. Talking about Thibodeau. T. Gree says Jermaine and Flat. Kelvin says Flat and Jermaine. Mark says Illuminor and Flat. Davis says Kayvon beats up the weaker tackles and struggles big time against good tackles. Shout out to my man NYG man VA in the building. What's going on, bro? How you doing, man? He says, Dash, how does it sound? Styles, Edmonds, and McFadden. Sign me up for that. Sounds fantastic. That's music to my ears. Absolutely, that's music to my ears. For sure. And then shout out to my man NYG man again. Well, that's that. I'm sorry. Click on for the 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to you. Thank you for the love and support. If you were able to get a membership to the page because of my man NYG man VA, give him a salute in the chat, man. But shout out to my man NYG, always coming through, always showing love and support. Thank you for the $20 super chat as well. Where we at? T-Time, what's going on, T-Time? He says, what up, Dash? Let's re-sign J.E. Gotta let Fly and Wandell walk. Nothing missed, to be honest. Luann says, like McFadden a lot. Renee says, thanks, still. Okay, that's what's up. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my man YG man with the 10 subscriptions. Shout out to everybody again. Shout out to the new membership people too. You will see some of the emojis and stuff that we have available and stuff like that. So shout out to the love and support, man. Leo Lucas says, what time does free agency on Monday start? It depends on what part of the country. I believe Leo Lucas, I believe you said you were in Florida, right? I believe you're in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong though. Either you're from Florida or you live in Florida. I think so, if my memory serves me correctly. But it would be 4:00 for you. 4:00 for you when that whole free agency, actually when the tampering, because the first day of free agency, that's going to be 4:00 your time. But the tampering period, I believe, is it noon? Is there a time for the tampering period? It depends on where you're at. Because I know when free agency starts is 1:00 my time, which means it's 4:00 on the East Coast. I know that when they start the new league year, when you actually start getting the real deals and the signatures and stuff like that. But tampering starts noon on Monday. Thank you very much. Noon Eastern Standard Time. Let's see. Densley says noon. You know what's crazy? Last year, when free agency started, I was at Disneyland. I was at Disneyland, walking around Disneyland, and I was on my phone checking every time I could chance. I found out we got Pulse and Debo while I was at Disneyland. I forget who else got signed early that day, but I was at Disneyland, man, checking my phone. At the happiest place on earth, checking my phone, trying to get updates with free agency. Tampering starts at 12 p.m. Monday, 4 p.m. Wednesday for free. There you go. Thank you very much, my man Mark Thompson with the news. And shout out to everybody else letting us know for sure what time tampering starts. Appreciate the love. That's why we got the best people in the building, man. The Big Blue Nation, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. That's why it's the best. We all sit here and support everybody. We're active in the chat, and we doing our thing. So the big three, we already said, mainly people said keep Jermaine. I'll say that as number one. Kind of 50-50 split on whether you want to keep Flott or Wandell, or, it's just Jermaine. So that is what it is. He said your dad's tampering is like foreplay. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Greg T, what's going on, Greg T? He says, I remember that big, yeah. I was at Disneyland getting updates. Wayne says, what's up, Dad? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Wayne in the building. Bryce says, I'm 75, over 60 years fan from Yankees. Shout out to you. Shout out to Bryce. That's what's up. We got somebody a fan since 55. We got Bryce who's 75. Said over 60 years of a fan. And shout out to you guys. Shout out to the OGs in the building. Shout out to the New York Giants fans. New York football Giants. All right. Okay. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, right? And we talked about the linebacker room and how we have just Sal. We kind of talked about Edmonds. I like Leo Chanel as well. There's rumors that Patrick Queen might get released because of being a cap casualty. So obviously we want, I can't say we, but I want Sonny Styles at 5 in the draft, but there's no guarantee. So linebacker has to be addressed. And I think we need at least 2 linebackers in free agency before we even get to the draft. So again, my list of linebackers are, again, I have Leo Chanel. Obviously, the big name ticket is Devin Lloyd from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's at $20 million. You got Quay Walker from Green Bay at $9 million. Nakobe Dean, Philadelphia Eagle, at $8 million. What else I have? Alex Anzalone from Detroit, $7 million. Tremaine Edmonds at 10.4, Micah McFadden at $2 million. I have no issues. With bringing back Micah McFadden, just as long as we all know that he's not getting, just a nod to be a starter next to anybody. You bring in Micah McFadden for depth, I think he's good depth. If he can prove himself to John Harbaugh and to Denard Wilson that he can be a starter, then so be it. But for me, I think Micah McFadden has a place on this team. But I also understand we're trying to do bigger and better things. And does he actually fit the scheme for McFadden? I see Pete Winans to Edmonds, Styles, McFadden. I'm for that. I like Leo Chanel a lot because, and I think that between him and Edmonds, one's about $5 million cheaper than the other. And I don't think the gap between both of those players is about $5 million worth. Now, Edmonds, full-time starter and a captain, leader, that goes a little bit longer than what Leo Chanel is. But also Leo Chanel was in a role under Steve Spagnuolo, and I think because the linebacker play was so good, some of the guys that played in front of him, like Nick Bolton, and what was it, number 24? I can't remember his name exactly. Those guys played in front of him, and then you saw Leo Chanel come in the rotation, and he played well. So for me, I like to see players that seem to be, ascending. And if you can still get those guys for cheap, I think that works for us. And Leo Chanel probably is like a 2-year commitment. Edmonds will probably be a little bit more than that, maybe a 3-year commitment. McFadden, 1-year prove-it deal. So there's some ways that the New York Giants could move. But I'm going to ask you guys again, because we all sharing opinions here. If the New York Giants, say we bring back Micah McFadden as insurance, as a depth guy. When it comes, are you trying to spend big money at the linebacker spot? Are you trying to go for it all with Devin Lloyd? Are you trying to be more reasonable with somebody like Edmonds? You still got Bobby Okereke out there. I don't think he returns. I think we burned that bridge with Bobby Okereke. I still like Bobby Okereke. I understand why they moved on because of the money. I thought maybe they can get something done where they could tear up the contract, kind of like what we saw with Devin Singletary. But I want to see what people say about that. So Kelvin says Nakobe Dean styles of McFadden. I think Nakobe Dean is too light. If you put Nakobe Dean and Styles back there together, and Styles not a small guy, but he's more like a will linebacker in my opinion too. He's not really a Mike, and Dean is too small really to be a Mike for what we're doing in the NFC East. We saw that with the Philadelphia Eagles, even though he made some plays. Renee says Edmonds and Styles works for me. I like that. Stephen R says, who would you pay big money to, Linderbaum or Devin Lloyd? You're gonna get your Linderbaum bag off. I understand. You're absolutely gonna get that Linderbaum bag off. I'm old school, right? I'm old school. I miss the New York Giants having dominant linebackers. If I'm picking between, I'm not as. I gotta think about it. Stephen R. I gotta think about it, man. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull a Joe Shane, and I'm gonna say to you, I understand your question. I'm not gonna answer that question yet because I don't know the answer, but I understand the question. I understand the question. Stephen R. says Fred Warner style. Yeah, Fred Warner ain't happening. Shout out to Art Stapleton though. Art Stapleton put that tweet out. I know he was BSing when he put it out. He was just joking, and people ran with it. People absolutely ran with it. But shout out to Art Stapleton for causing a fuss. Shout out to him for causing the fuss. There you go. Pete Winers answered the question. He said Linderbaum. Again, I understand the question. I'm still a GM. My role hasn't changed, and I understand the question. I understand the question. David Bourne says, spend the money, get Devin Lloyd enough of this. We need a linebacker that rocks the house, energizes the defense. New York Giants football. New York Giants football. Shout out to True King. Said, big up to you, Dash. What's going on, True King? How you doing? Danny Thompson says, hi, everyone. Hi, Danny. How you doing? Hopefully you're having a fantastic night. T-Tom says, Steve Warner is aging. Steve Warner? Who's Steve Warner is aging coming off of injury? Who are we talking about, Steve Warner? Who are we talking about, Steve Warner? Am I tripping? I might be tripping. Shout to Dominic. He says, how do you feel about Drew Phillips? I like Drew Phillips. I also think Drew Phillips is a liability beyond 15 yards. I also think that Drew Phillips is not good enough to not get drafted over, but it all depends on who's available. What's the kid from Miami, Keontae? 6'2", but he's almost 200 pounds, and he's a nickel corner, slot corner. I like Keontae a lot, but I like Drew Phillips. I especially like him in the run game. As far as run defense, like him close to the line. If he was a little bit bigger, maybe he could transition to a safety possibly. But we all know he's a liability beyond 15 yards. We've seen that. Hopefully he works on that. And hopefully if we can get enough pressure on quarterbacks and also be able to stop the run, maybe that makes the cornerbacks a little bit better. Maybe they can do their job for a little bit longer or be a little bit more efficient. Is it Uziel? Says Big Dash, Jersey, Big Blue Nation. That's a fact. Shout out to Jersey in the building. Shout out to New York too. But shout out to Jersey. Y'all already know. My home state. Renee says, if we get Flowers because Styles is gone. Flowers. Who are you talking about, Renee? If we get Flowers because Styles is gone, then Newby can be one of who is Flowers? What Flowers are you talking about? Because every time I see Flowers, I got PTSD a little bit. Respectfully, shout out to respectfully. I don't like to hear the word Flowers. Well, who are you talking about? Let me know. Re-up, Rebag says Styles and Trey. I think that's really possible. I think that's something that's very possible. Again, when you think about Harbaugh and you think about his defense, he's always had solid linebacker play. Whether it was Ray Lewis, then it was who, Patrick Queen, then more recently Roquan Smith. You see linebackers there. I think they want to identify a leader at the second level wearing the green dot, and you got to do that too before you get to the draft, because there's a chance that Sonny Styles might not be there, and there's also a chance that the New York Giants don't draft Sonny Styles. So this free agency period, when it comes to these linebackers, we do have to pick wisely, for sure. Luann says, Dash, a few mock drafts has Giants picking Tate and Lemon. I'm not taking a wide receiver if Styles, Downs, or Baines are on the board. I'm not. I thought about it. If we trade back, I might go wide receiver. But that wide receiver class is deeper than a lot of people think it is. I think at 37, there'll still be some wide receivers available. If we end up somehow, Lord willing, getting a third round pick, there will be some wide receivers available. So and also what we do in free agency, I do think we pick up one or two wide receivers in free agency. Probably not a big name. I saw a lot of people saying Brian Thomas. Shout out to my man D Illa too. I want to give D Illa his props and his credit. He was talking about possibly trading for Brian Thomas Jr. So, and then we see a lot of people running with that now. So yeah. I think that might be the splashier move, is what we do at wide receiver, possibly, depending on if it's going to be a trade. If it's a trade, we might be looking at Brian Thomas Jr. But if it's something that we saw in free agency, then it could be a Romeo Doubs. You know what? I don't think it's going to be Alec Pierce. I think Pierce is too much money. I think Pierce is too much money. To be like $25-30 million. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. Because he's not a number one. Well, he might be a number one on somebody's team, but he's not a number one for the New York Giants. That's Malik Neighbors. And do you want to pay your wide receiver $25-30 million? I don't think so. Make sure I got all the super chats. I do. Okay. Hooks Rub, what's going on, Hooks Rub? He says, hey, Dash and chat, just listening and lurking in the background. I'm doing a project for a trade show coming up for a rebrand. Go G-Man. You already know what it is, Hooks. Let me know. I'm always willing to support and shout out your business and your product on the channel. Shout out to my man Hooks Rub. You see the picture. You see the profile picture. The man makes his own dry rub, season and stuff like that, does his own barbecues and stuff like that. So make sure you guys check him out. If you watch Pat Leonard, he's one of the sponsors for the Pat on Pat Leonard's YouTube channel as well. So yeah, shout out to my man Hooks Rubs. No flowers. Now I'm trying to figure out which flower we talking about. Steve Warner must be Fred Warner's pops. Nah, that's hilarious. Let's be friendly though. He just made a mistake. I don't know what Warner he was talking about, but it is what it is. Luann says I would love Justin Jefferson. Luann, Luann, you shoot for the stars. I know that. And trying to get Justin Jefferson is definitely shooting for the stars. Coach Ed said, give me David and Benison. Shout out to the Union Fighting Farmer. Davison and Benison, cornerback, Ohio State. Again, Union Fighting Farmer. Shout out to Jersey. He might be there in the fourth. We already know some of his flaws, the penalties and stuff like that. He's a little bit grabby, a little handsy and stuff like that. But I think he get coached up. I like his aggressiveness. I think that Denard Wilson would like that aggressiveness too. So yeah, we'll see what happens with him. I saw somebody, I think it might have been Marshall Green, that asked him a question at the combine, and he said, that's the home team when he was talking about the Giants. So I would like to see, David and Benison, and also it fits the need too, because he plays cornerback now, but he could probably be a little bit of a hybrid, play a little bit of safety too. New York, it was NYG Hardcore says, Dash, first time here. How you doing, man? Shout out to you, NYG Hardcore. Since it's your first time here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you are a New York Giants fan and your name says New York Giants hardcore. If that is true, if you are true to your name, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we bleed blue over here, without a doubt. Big Blue Nation, we bleed blue over here. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the Big Blue Nation. 100%. 100%. Shout out to Mark with the 7-month membership. Says Pierce has a 37%. Yeah. So, yeah. Certain things you raise your eyebrow at, man. Now, obviously, we get caught up in the wild plays. We know that he can stretch the field. You know what? You know he has big play capability. $25 million, $30 million. That is too rich for my blood. And I think that's an overpay, if I'm being honest. And I don't like to talk about other people's money. NFL players deserve to get however much money they can get because of what they do. But I'm saying for me and the New York Giants, $25, $30 million, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Ty says, with the $5 Super J says, yo, Dash, what's this? I'm hearing about Downs possibly having a bad knee. If Styles is gone, do we take Downs? Now, there's conflicting reports on that whole Downs stuff. I know they said his knees might be degenerate or something like that. But then I heard that that's not true. It's false. So I don't know what to believe right now. I haven't seen any medicals. I'm assuming once we see him at Ohio State's pro day, we'll get some more answers. But right now it's a whole, we don't know if it's true or not. All I know is when we saw him on the field, the man was making plays. So if his knees are bad, he's doing a damn good job with bad knees. So hopefully it's not true. Hopefully it's not true. Downs is fantastic. Downs is fantastic in my opinion. You said no for the brand. We're talking about hooks. Okay, we'll clarify. We'll clarify. Okay. Pete Weiner says Jersey's own Nick Benison. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. D. Illa is in the building. He says, we'll see what happens with the Brian Thomas Jr. At the end of the day, he might not get moved. There's just been a lot of talk around him since the deadline last year. My whole issue is this, though, and we saw it. His rookie year, the man had almost 1,200 yards receiving. I believe he had 10 touchdowns, right? He was right there with Malik Neighbors as far as production. And then last year, his stats got cut in half. And the Jaguars made it to the playoffs. And you would think that his role would be even more. He got lost in the sauce over there. He might be disgruntled. And if he's disgruntled and he's looking for a trade, guess what? Well, I'll stick out my hand and say, hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Come on to the New York Giants. Now, what you give up for him, that's another question. I'm not giving up 37 for Brian Thomas. I'm sorry. Let me know, dealer. Would you give up 37 for Brian Thomas? I don't know. Let me know for sure, because I don't know. Maybe you would. I don't know. Was it official though, Pete? Because I heard a conflicting story. I heard it came out that he had issues with his knees, and then I saw another report saying that wasn't true. Might have been the family saying that was false. You know how it is. Stephen R says a fourth. I don't think a fourth gets it done for Brian Thomas though. If we had a third rounder, I would absolutely give up a third rounder for Brian Thomas. Absolutely. He said, and he did that with Mac Jones because Lawrence was hurt. Nah, that's a fact. Entirely different coaching regime too. He got lost out there, man. Literally, his stats got cut in half. Talking about Brian Thomas Jr. You think it was a chemistry? Maybe. Hirsch, for real. I see what you said, Hirsch. I see what you said, Hirsch. Dad's Life said, give him Kayvon. I would make that deal. Dad's Life, I wouldn't make that deal. I think I would make that deal. Because you got him, he's a first rounder. So you get the 5th-year option. So you get him as long as you have Malik Neighbors. You figure with Kayvon, if he's playing on the 5th-year option, you don't get an extension done, then it might be a little bit different. So I would do that deal. I would do that deal straight up. Kayvon for Brian Thomas Jr., I would do that straight up. I don't think that'd be fair value in return for Brian Thomas for the Jags, but I would take that deal for sure. Stephen Bloom says he's co-signing. Says it with BTJ back on the market. Oh, sorry, where'd it go? BTJ production was all with Mac Jones. That's a fact. Stephen Bloom says is BTJ back on the market? Not officially, no. Not officially, no. But the rumor was that his team allowed him to seek a trade, or that they were listening to trade calls for him. Renee says we wanted Edmonds for Kayvon, so we have to be interested. Yeah. All right, shout out to Taylor. Taylor fitted my pain with the $10 super chat. He says, considering the spending we'll have next year as an agent looking out, I'll tell my clients to sign with the Giants on a 1-year deal. If you ball out regardless, you get paid. What do you think? Whatever gets the job done, Taylor. Whatever you got to tell them to get the job done. Next year, obviously, before we start messing around with the cap some more, we got like $128 million as far as cap space in 2027. So there's absolutely money that you can borrow from into next year. That's pretty much what we're going to do this year. So yeah, New York Giants got some bread. They got some bread. They got some, and shout out to Donna Ponte. She's gonna get this cap right for sure. She's gonna make the room, and she's gonna make everything make sense at the end of the day. We got some money to spend. So I hope they smart with their coins. All right, hold on a sec. I do, because I keep on forgetting. Give me just a moment. I want to make sure I get the link sent out to my guy, Big Lou, if he's still available. Just a moment. Where's my... Let's see. My guy, Big Lou, at. Now my computer wants to move slow. All right. All right, Lou, I sent you that link if you're still in the chat. If you're still in the chat, I sent you the link. My man Big Lou from G Nation Sports. Luann says, Dash, am I crazy? Can we trade for... Yeah, we can't trade for Justin Jefferson. I'm sorry. I ain't going to call you crazy. I'm not going to call you crazy. I'll call the idea a little crazy, though. Renee says, I want to see Downs pro day workout. I think it'll be fine. Again, seeing him on the field, I didn't see any issues on the field, and if your knees are degenerative, I would assume you would have some injuries throughout college, and he's been fairly healthy. So I don't know. And he will be getting a second opinion. That's what they said as far as that second report. So, we'll see what happens at the end of the day. Who was that had, what was the linebacker? What was it, UCLA? They had issues with the knees. And I think the Jags ended up taking them a few years back. Might have been like 6-7 years ago. Justin isn't happy there. They need a quarterback. I wouldn't be happy either. Miles Jack, thank you, Pete. Yeah, he was another one that they said had bad knees. He played a couple of years. For sure. All right. Man, Big Lou in the building. Get you on in just a second. Dealer says if you would take, I would say it would take way too much to get Justin Jefferson. Now, that's a fact. Menace King says, Dash, what's your top free agent target? Oh, man, that's a good question. It's Jermaine Illuminor, linebacker. I like Edmonds a lot. I like Leo Chanel. Depends on what happens with that, though. But it's my wish list. I'm going to give away my video. So shout out to the people that are watching right now. Wish list is Wyatt Teller, Jermaine Illuminor. Where's my cornerback? The cornerback I was looking at Jamel Dean as a step up from Cordell Flott. That was on the wish list. Defensive tackle, I want, and you guys might laugh at me, I want Christian Wilkins. With all his craziness, I understand, but being able to have a solid defensive line, I wouldn't mind Christian Wilkins, but I would like to tell him to keep his hands to himself. John Franklin Myers from Denver is another guy on the defensive line that I wouldn't mind having. Let's see. As far as the running backs go, as far as fitting the room, I like Tyler Algier. I like Rico Dowdle. Well, sorry. What else? I wouldn't mind signing Greg Van Roten as insurance on the offensive line. Who else is there? I like Tevin Jenkins too, but as far as number one priority though is Jermaine Illuminor. So hold on, let me go ahead and get this right. My man Big Lou in the building. What's going on, Big Lou?
What's going on, bro? Long time no see.
It's been a long time, right? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
How you
been? Hey man, I'm still alive and kicking. Flyest 48-year-old dude you ever seen in your life. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Nah, man. I see you still putting out content. You still keeping busy. I saw you did a mock draft not too long ago. So I got some questions for you, man. And we're gonna keep the chat going. I'm gonna get to y'all questions, but we vibing. You know how we do it. So I ain't get a chance to talk to you in a while. 5. What you doing at 5?
If Downs is there, I'm grabbing Downs or Styles. Whichever one of them two is there at 5, I'm grabbing. Unless now, if it plays out to where Reese and Jeremiah Love go within the top 3 or 4, right? And Downs and Styles is there, I would potentially entertain trading back to like number 7, still getting one of them guys and picking up a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick this year.
Now, when you say moving back to 7, you willing to do business with a rival with the Commanders?
Hey, listen, man. Listen.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing business with the Skins.
Yeah.
Now, Dallas and Philly is another story.
Okay. All right.
You know, but after that move that Dallas pulled with the Eagles to jump in front of us and all of that and get Micah Parsons, I would conduct no business with the lice-infested pigeons of the sea, the Philadelphia Seagulls, nor will I do any business with the one-star team, the Dallas Cowboys, because that is not a logo, that is a rating. They are a one-star organization.
That's hilarious. 1 star for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm with it. Well, you already know I hate the Eagles more than any other team in the world.
The Seagulls.
I hate
the lice-infested pigeons of the sea.
Yeah. I hate everything about that team that wears Kelly Green. I can't stand them. I can't stand them. So I saw it earlier in the chat. You said we got to fix this offensive line.
That's how I started my YouTube channel, was complaining about the offensive line.
The offensive line. We know it. So what I don't know is how you feel about Tyler Linderbaum, and are you paying Tyler Linderbaum $25 million?
Listen, okay. So if you remember when he was coming out in the draft,
yes,
I was saying Linderbaum.
Mm-hmm.
But 25 mil?
Yeah.
Hell no. To the no. And I know you agree with me because you're the money guy. Right? I remember we've had conversations about if we was running the organization, you would be the money guy. You would be the CFO, the chief financial officer. Okay?
Yeah. Listen.
Because Dad's going to track every dollar on that contract.
And I'm doing that now. And again, I'm far away. I don't have anything to do with anything that has to do with the New York Giants outside of being a fan and creating content. But that's
I do like the hat though.
I appreciate that.
I do like the hat though. When I saw it the first time, I said, "Ooh, make the Giants great again." I said that was genius.
I hope it works this year. It did not work last year at all. Shout out to my man Tyon. I got your name right. I got you with the $5 super chat. He says, the Downs knee news concerns me because remember when the Giants had Kenny Phillips, he was supposed to be it, but his knee was bone on bone. Now, Kenny Phillips was nice for the short amount of time that we had him, and then he became a POS when he went to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now I understand you got to go get a check, but it is what it is. When again, I can't stand anything about Philly. I can't stand Saquon Barkley's guts right now because he's a Philadelphia Eagle. Once you go to the Kelly Green, I can't mess with you. But now that's that's something good, man. That's because you can't play with knees, right? You can't play with him. If in fact he does have issues with his knees, you can't take him top 5, in my opinion.
Of course. And listen, we all know that the Giants have been horrible at stopping the run for quite some time. Our linebacker group has been trash. Nothing short of it. Okay. We've had Lorenzo Carter. We've had
countless ones.
We've had
still be here.
Horrible linebacker play. We know that Harbaugh is a guy who reveres and respects the linebacker position. We know that Giants historically have had winning seasons and brought Lombardi's home when we have had a solid linebacker core. And I believe that Sonny Styles is one of those guys. If you can go get somebody in free agency and draft a Sonny Styles to put 2 linebackers to stuff the run to help Dexter Lawrence and Darius Alexander, and if we get the continuation of what Abdul Carter started doing towards the end of the season and what Brian Burns was doing all season long, then you're working with something.
If the one thing, I'm glad you brought up Brian Burns too, because for me, I don't, with Abdul Carter and the Kayvon, all this, all this situation that we got going on right now. What Brian Burns did this past season, I think, is under the radar, because I'm just thinking if he had quality play consistently on the other side of him and also on that defensive line, that's 16 sacks. He could have been right there with Myles Garrett, because at the point in time he was leading the league in sacks, and then there was a 4-week period where Myles Garrett got like 13 sacks in 4 weeks, and then it took off from there. He ends up breaking Strahan's record and all that, and it's just like, I would have loved for it to be Brian Burns rather than, Myles Garrett. But, records are made to be, broken. But Abdul Carter, man. Abdul Carter, again, with his trajectory. Kayvon Thibodeau, possibly being, on the trading block. Are you in the group of keeping Kayvon, or are you with the whole, if the price is right, you'll get rid of him? I hate to say get rid of him, but you know what I mean.
If the price is right, I would let him go, simply because we've had 5 seasons to see what he can do. And while he has been consistently effective, he hasn't been that pass rusher that we expected him to be. And with the situation with how many holes we need to plug on the O-line, the DB situation, and let's not forget, Malik Neighbors is not coming back 100%. Cam Scatterbo is not coming back 100%. You have a young rookie quarterback, or second-year quarterback rather, who needs options to get rid of the ball to, because his offensive line has not been fully solidified yet, and we know that you've got a very small window from the time that ball is snapped to try to make something happen. You got 80% Malik Neighbors. Wandale is gone. Slayton, who has a big case of the dropsies most of the time. So are we going to be using Fidoni? Is Theo Johnson that guy? Can we implement more of Bellinger getting the pass? Can we use some of Tyrone Tracy's former wide receiver play and incorporate him catching out of the backfield to give Jackson Dart the most available targets that he can get rid of the ball to, right? Because until we get this line fixed,
it doesn't even matter.
He's under duress, and we can't do nothing, right? So at least give him another receiver or another option to dump the ball off to, on a hot route, or whatever the case may be, a slant. If the line breaks down, the coverage breaks down, and you just got to get the pass off, a check down, whatever. We got to have targets available for him to get rid of the ball.
And That's why again when we first announced that we were signing or hiring Matt Nagy as an offensive coordinator, I think I had the same reaction as a lot of people. I'm underwhelming, right? Underwhelming. And then you go back to thinking about the offense that he's bringing. Again, leave Nagy out of it and how you feel about Nagy out of it. We're talking about going to a true West Coast offense. Everything is fit on timing as far as the quarterbacks drop steps to the wide receivers routes and also being able to get your tight ends involved. And one thing Nagy was able to do in Chicago was get his running backs involved in the passing game. We have those type of running backs, to your point, where they can get involved, whether it's Tracy and Scatterable. Scatterable did a good job catching the ball.
Cam does a great job catching up the
backfield. We saw Devin Singletary probably make one of the best catches down the right sideline, last year too. I forget which game that was, though.
So and actually, I like the way Cam runs after the catch.
Oh,
I think he's more effective when he catches the ball than he does running out of the backfield. Because it's like he's already got a head full of steam, and he's going to bowl you over.
Yeah, that dump off. He ran over Louisville. He ran over the cornerback. Then I think he got a little bit of the safety too before he got out of bounds. And again, that's the energy. And I'm sorry, I got to go back. I got to go back to one of the first things we talked about in this stream. Kenneth Walker.
You know where the energy comes from.
And that's what I'm saying. You bring in somebody. This is why I'm not for the whole Kenneth Walker thing, man. And it's not just about the money. Well, it is about the money too. It is about the money too. But Cam Scatterable brings that energy with every touch, right? And he's a volume guy. We see this. Running backs are volume carrier, and the more they get the ball,
gotta get into a rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. And if you bring in somebody that's going to be a bell cow workhorse, that's taking those plays away from Scatterable, and ultimately you're taking away some of the energy, some of the excitement, some of the just the way that the New York Giants want to play ball moving forward. And that's why I'm really not against the Kenneth Walker deal. So for you, is it a money thing? Is it a volume thing? Is when it comes to Kenneth Walker? Do you want Kenneth Walker?
I would love to have a running back like Kenneth Walker here, but as you alluded to earlier, if you do that, then he's going to get the bulk of the carry, and then you're just paying Cam, and paying Tracy to sit there and be bench warmers, right? And then you kind of shorten the playbook a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Almost like we did with OBJ. You was force feeding the ball to OBJ. That limits what you can do with the rest of the field, and defenses pinpoint that, and you become predictable. So, as much as I would love to have a 1-2-3 punch at the running back position with that type of stable in the backfield, it's not realistic, and financially, it's not feasible.
It would be dynamic if it works. But again, we're talking about the money and justifying how much you paying this guy.
Financially, it's not feasible.
Running back by committee, I think, is going to work. It was a conversation that was in the spaces, and they were saying Giants fans always want to go back to Earth, Wind, and Fire. You might not ever be able to get that Earth, Wind, and Fire feeling back, and I agree with that point. But I do believe that the running back by committee is the way you got to go, because we've seen it work already. Last year, for instance, New York Giants surprised me. 5th in the league as far as rushing offense. 5th in the league. With not one person getting over 1,000 yards rushing. Now, we got Cam Scatterable and Tracy that had, 1,000 yards combined, said total, from scrimmage. But we were still 5th in the league in rushing. And that includes, what Jackson Dart did on the ground, too. So if you're productive and the running back by committee seems to be working with a coaching staff that is inept, when you have a coaching staff now that's, upper echelon with Harbaugh, I expect it to be somewhat similar, even better than what we saw.
And Greg Roman.
And Greg Roman, exactly.
Let's not forget, Greg Roman is a run game specialist. That's why when Matt Nagy got hired, I'm like you, was kind of like, he doesn't really know how to utilize the run game. And when you got Cam Scatterable and Tyrone Tracy, you kind of need a coach who knows how to use the run. So when he hired Greg Roman, it kind of makes it like a system of checks and balances to keep defenses honest, because now you have a run game specialist and a pass game specialist that have to work with each other as the head coach and as the offensive coordinator and the assistant coordinator. So I like that move right there. So that's what made me a little more confident in the Matt Nagy hire, and gives me confidence in the fact that we're going to be able to move the ball running, because we already know he's keeping the fullback, which I'm super excited for.
Who that fullback is what we'll find out soon enough too, though.
Shit, Fidoni.
He's 48 hours, right? Well, not even.
Fidoni.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the coaches and the coaching hire, because when you look at the individual hires, there's disappointment in some cases, right? But the way that they did it, to your point, you have Nagy, who's known for possibly having a strong passing game, but he has a reputation of being weak when it comes to the run. And then you bring in Greg Roman. So you have these coaches that do have weaknesses, but you also have other assistants that come in that can cover those weaknesses. That's one of the reasons why I trust Harbaugh, the whole trust the process when it comes to Harbaugh. So even though you scratch your head at some hires, later on you get the answer of why he did this and how everything.
I sure was scratching my head about firing Carmine Basilio. I was like, what?
Well, we saw what happened with that, though. He didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. Well, that's from what I got from, because prior to the hiring of John Harbaugh, he was talking about, I'm under contract, I'm here with the New York Giants. Dable gets hired in Tennessee. All of a sudden, the writing was on the wall. You kind of knew what was going on. And then he made his way down to Tennessee too, which, trust me, as much as I like Carmen Basilio, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here.
Yeah. And absolutely.
Same thing with Wink Martindale. Loved Wink Martindale. But if you don't want to be here, why would I force you here? I want.
But we know now that Wink didn't not want to be at New York. He didn't want to be with Dable.
There you go. And then you
see what I'm saying? So we can't take it personally that he had an issue with New York. He had an issue with the same motherfucker we had an issue with.
Yeah.
The Garden Gnome.
My man Dealer says, just feel like Algier is too much like Scat. They're basically identical running backs. I don't see the problem with that, though, because
sorry, go ahead.
One thing I'll say is this, and when you have, I don't like tells, right? I don't like tells. I don't like to we have a running back in the backfield. Oh, they're definitely passing. They're definitely somebody. Oh, they're definitely passing. It's a passing down. I think because these guys have similar style, I kind of like it. But also I like it because Algier is already used to being not the workhorse in the committee with Bijan Robinson down in Atlanta. I think he fits. But again, we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. But we'll see what happens. Go ahead. What are you going to say about that?
I think we don't even really need to address the running back position, right? We have, did we just we re-sign Singletary?
Yeah, he's back. Singletary's back
on a minimum, right? Vet minimum.
Yep.
Okay, so you have Cam Scatterboo, Tyrone Tracy Jr., Devin Singletary, and I believe we still have Turbo Miller on somewhere on the roster.
Contract. I believe he has a futures contract, so he's still there. But we already know how it is with Turbo Miller. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut.
But I mean, you still have 4 running backs, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you just let Wandale go. Slayton has the dropsies. And, we still haven't figured out if Theo Johnson is that guy. Right, we still don't know what we're going to be able to do with Daniel Bellinger, who I think is one of our better tight ends, in my opinion.
I want to bring it back, man. I saw.
Listen, I think he should be getting more run. He was doing well until he got Judy chopped in the eye a few seasons back.
Yeah,
but I really feel like we need to fix the offensive line and get Dart some weapons that he can throw the ball to. Now, Malik is our number 1. We need a surefire number 2.
Okay.
And now, with Wandale gone, now we have no slot receiver.
So, yeah. And it's crazy when you think about it. You got Malik Neighbors, and outside of Malik Neighbors, again, I think Wandale Robinson is gone. I think he deserves the money. This will be his
Which is
first.
crazy to me because I'm sorry,
You go
he
ahead.
got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Slayton's been with us 6-7 seasons and never had 1,000-yard season. What are we doing?
If it, I like Wandell. I really do like
He's a
Wandell.
bit undersized, but he's been more productive than Darius Slayton.
Absolutely, 100%.
And he's more sure-handed than Darius Slayton.
You can absolutely trust Wandell more. The problem is 17 million slot receiver, 20 million possibly. That's rough. That's rough. Now again, by all means, get as much money as you can. And if the New York Giants don't want to pay that, then he'll find a home somewhere. So for me, I'm already thinking about a replacement for Wandell Robinson, right? So and one guy got cut today from the Falcons, Darnell Mooney, right?
Okay.
Darnell, and I'm not saying he's a number 2. I'm not saying, but add some depth to the wide receiver room because I think Hyatt is gone. As much as I fought for Hyatt, I think Hyatt's gone. After that, you got Bo Collins. We just re-signed Gunnar Olszewski. We got a UDFA and Daquan Felton, and that's it. That's it. And again,
so you're with me on the wide receiver move.
Oh yeah, I think we signed 2 wide receivers in free agency.
Did you see my draft?
I didn't see the draft. I know you put out the video. I didn't see it.
I drafted 2 receivers.
Who'd you pick up? You drafted one in the first round or what?
You know what? I'll pull it up. I screenshotted it.
Go ahead. I'm gonna get to some of these comments and you bring it up.
All right.
Dealer says, but Harbaugh really didn't use 3 running backs since him. Oh yeah, somebody was talking about 4 running backs. Harbaugh keeps 4 running backs. Dealer saying, but Harbaugh really didn't use 3 running backs since Henry has been there. Hill was his pass catching back, and Keaton Mitchell barely got on the field. Ravens fans weren't very happy about that. Again, we talk about a big name free agent acquisition. That's what they did with Derrick Henry. They brought him in. He's the bell cow. The money says he's a bell cow, and you see it. I think it's the same kind of thing here, DLO too. You bring in somebody like Kenneth Walker, he becomes a bell cow. You see less carries from Scatterbull, less involvement from Tracy. And to your point, like Keaton, the Singletary becomes non-existent. I think you had that same effect when I'd rather have my running backs fresh. We see even with Derrick Henry, down to the Tennessee games. It didn't work for Tennessee. They didn't make it to the championship. The Baltimore Ravens had all those yards with Derrick Henry. They can't make it out of the playoffs or make it to the playoffs. I like the formula of running back by committee. Even the Seattle Seahawks, even though Kenneth Walker was the Super Bowl MVP, you got the guy right behind him, Charbonnet. He was playing until he got hurt. And then what was his name? Holani? He was another guy getting carried. So it's still running back by committee. Even though you saw Kenneth Walker have a fantastic season, but even he got issues with injuries as well. Not as bad as some other people, but too. So I can't commit that kind of money to a position, that's that. And my man Deal is not saying that. I'm just, going on the tangent after I saw his comment.
I shared it right there.
You got it. Okay, you got it. Okay, hold on. Let's see. So let me go ahead and move this. What you got going? Okay, so the Sonny Styles at 12. So you traded back. You got the additional first rounder for Caden McDonald. We kept our 37. What else you pick up? You picked up a 3rd round. Oh man, put a smile on my face. Sonny Styles, Caden McDonald, give you your DT help from Ohio State. Chris Bell, big body wide receiver, big target, coming off the knee injury, so he won't be ready. He won't be ready. But you got Jennings Dunker, who I like a lot, Mr. Red Mullet. Jude Bowery, good, decent Boston tackle out of Boston College, but also some people got him pinned as possibly playing guard and also has the versatility to play center. Takario Davis, long cornerback, 6'4", 190 pounder, ran a 4.40, well 4.46, 4.47. And then Damani Jackson out of Alabama, he's another speed guy. He's aggressive too in the run. And then Bryce Butcher, linebacker. I like that draft. That's a good draft. That's a good draft for sure.
And that's the wrong one. That's the one where I only got 1 wide receiver. Hold on.
Hey, I like that one though.
That was good.
The other one don't got Sonny Styles on it, I'm assuming, huh?
Yeah, it do. And I didn't do no trades. The other one you're gonna like even more.
That's what's up. Let's see. Man, Digga says
There
Juan
it is.
put up good numbers with Jameis as QB1. Well, he also put up good numbers with Russell Wilson in that Dallas game. Him and Malik went off in that Dallas game. So yeah, but Wandell was going off this season, man. Wandell, a 5'8" safety blanket for quarterbacks. I'll put it that way. I think he has value. Again, that $17-20 million. We'll see what the market is for real on Monday. We'll see. We'll see for sure, because he's probably going to be one of those names that goes pretty early too, or we get the rumor out on him too. Let's see this draft right here. Okay, we got Sonny Styles at 12. Okay, McDonald, Bell again, Jennings.
Oh no, that's the same one. Hold on.
That's the same one. Let's see. Pete Weiner says, I like the kid Skylar from I like the kid Skylar from UConn too. Skylar Bell. Like Skylar Bell. He is not a sleeper anymore either. Skylar Bell got some real talent. He can run routes too. He can run routes, and he's aggressive. Like that kid a lot. Dealers replying to Pete Weiner says Walker has been banged up quite a bit also during his time in Seattle. Yeah, he has. He hasn't been the healthiest. Again, we're talking about big money commitments too. Skate Habitat says we'll be lucky to get Styles at 5. You're not lying, man. He talk about getting him at 12. I don't think he lasts that long either. But again, that's why mock drafts are mock drafts. You know, we can only hope that we can get Styles. I don't think it also depends on what mock draft simulator you're using too, because all these ones are different. They got different rankings.
There we go.
You got this one here. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right, hold on. Let me fix that. All right, so you got Sonny. This is the no trade one you said. Sonny Styles at 5. Caleb Banks. Caleb Banks is a good pickup. Might be the second best defensive tackle in the draft. Cage Casey is one of my sleepers, Lou, from Boise State. Left tackle, great feet, solid, got a lot of snaps. Malik Benson out of Oregon, wide receiver. Okay, Jeff Caldwell, sneaky and fast. Bigger body wide receiver. He ran like a 4.3 at the combine. And then Tyreek Sapp edge. That's one. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. So let me get this off the screen.
Come on, man. Come on, Dad.
For a second. So right now the Giants have 3 solid rotational edge players, right? With Kayvon Thibodeau. And even with Kayvon Thibodeau, I still think we need another edge. I don't count Chauncey Golston as an edge rusher. I count him as a hand in the dirt type of hybrid DN, 5 technique, 4-eye, whatever you want to call it, all the crazy terms that they got out there.
He's not a real pass rusher.
We do need an edge rusher. We need another one. And if we trade Kayvon Thibodeau, we definitely need another one. And when I see a lot of these mock drafts going out, I don't see too many people taking an edge rusher. I've been guilty of it too. And this edge class is deep. There's a guy that I like a lot. He's no longer a sleeper now too. Malachi Lawrence at a UCF, Central Florida. And one thing I like that as far as like a trait for edge rushers, I call them Kung Fu masters if they got good hands. Call them Kung Fu masters, right? And Malachi Lawrence is a Kung Fu master for sure. For sure.
What the?
Kung Fu master, man. The first time I ever said that about somebody was George Kalafdis. And we see what he turned into at with the Chiefs coming out of Purdue. And he only played football, I think, in college, or maybe his senior year, because I believe he's like Greek or something like that. But Malachi Lawrence, man, if you get a chance to watch, I don't know if you watched him at all, but Malachi Lawrence, and they got tons of like clips and stuff on YouTube too. His hands are fantastic. And 2 months ago, when I was doing mock drafts, he was going in like the 6th round, 5th round. Now this man's going in the 3rd round. So it's just.
Oh, and as we get closer, it's all going to fluctuate.
It's gonna be crazy. My man Simeon says Wandell will be a Titan. I think so. King Christie says Skylar. Skylar Bell, man, the kid from UConn. You get a chance to watch him yet? Wide receiver, smaller school, played under Jim Moore, though I believe at UConn before Jim Moore got his new job. But yeah, he's sneaky good too. He's no longer a sleeper. You got the kid Ted Hurst out of Georgia State, who's these kids went to the Senior Bowl, and then after they went to the Senior Bowl, it was like boom, on the map for everybody. So guys that I thought that we can, I say we, the Giants could possibly take in
I'm
day
guilty
3.
of it too. I say we like I
I
work
say
there,
we
like
all
I got some
the time, man.
say in it.
I say we all the time, man.
Yeah.
When you've been a fan as long as we've been fans, you can say we. I don't. If you're a Giants fan, period, you should be
As
saying
many tickets and merch and every damn thing else we done bought, we own the stadium.
blood, sweat, and tears, time sitting here on YouTube for hours after hours. But yeah, man,
Debating and arguing and
right,
researching and looking up stats and watching film and
right,
breaking down film and arguing with people who know nothing about the game, have never wore a uniform or a set of cleats.
ever. But that's a part of the game. That's a part of the game. Coach Ward, shout out to my man, Coach Ward. He says only reason we care about Wandell Herringbone, the Deuce, is because Slayton sucks. I can't even argue with that.
Listen, you get no disagreement from me, but at least he got us 1,000 yards. Slayton never did. So I would rather get rid of Slayton and keep Wandell. But I understand the fiduciary responsibility of it all.
As a professional football player, as a professional wide receiver, all Slayton had to do was his job. If he just did his job and held on to the ball, we wouldn't even be talking about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about.
Just do
your job. Just do your job. That's all you had to do. Just catch the ball. That's what you pay. That's what you got paid $12 million to do. Is catch the ball.
Somebody need to come into the locker room like the late 80s, early 90s with a big old boom box playing Big Daddy Kane. I get the job done.
Just do your job.
Work. I get the job done.
That is crazy to me. And I was watching a highlight. It was a cut up. It was all of Jackson Dart's deep throws. And you're looking at him. Darius Slayton, 3 touchdowns dropped. 3 touchdowns dropped. And that was just the touchdowns that he dropped. He probably could have had another 300 yards on the season.
And 2 of those was game-winning touchdowns had he caught them.
Talk about it. And it's just crazy to me because had he if Darius Slayton had a 0% drop rate, we wouldn't be talking about wide receivers right now. We wouldn't be talking about them. Not as high as we're talking about wide receivers. If he just held on to the ball. But again, if it was that, then we wouldn't be dealing with certain situations. We probably win more games, and Brian Dable's probably still the coach. And everything happens for a reason. It's all in God's plan, I'm assuming. We had to get the Harbaugh somehow, some way. Shout out to my man, Coach Ed. Coach Ed with the $4.99 super chat says one thing to consider: neighbors can be moved around and play outside as well as in the slot. It creates mismatches, stressing the defense. That's what he did at LSU. And my bad, J Jan. I think I did see this. I did see with the $1.99 super chat says that's when I was introducing you. He says the Giants are going 10-7 this year. Let's go.
I beg to differ, sir.
So let them know, Lou. What
11-6, baby.
You forgot the bicep.
I'm back on my bullshit, baby. 11-6. You heard? Let's go.
Let's go. You already know what it is. That's Mr. 11-6, the original 11-6. Shout out to my man Big Lou for hanging out with me. Simeon says, sheesh. Mandika says the wide receivers look good with Jameis. Nah, Jameis was cooking for those 2 games. I'm not gonna lie. Jameis was cooking. Jameis was cooking.
I said it when we signed him. I said, look, people can say what they want about him. He's a gunslinger. Part of the consequence of being a gunslinger is sometimes you're gonna throw interceptions. Okay? Brett Favre was revered for being a gunslinger. At one point, he held the damn record for most interceptions. But he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He was revered throughout the league. He's a gunslinger. He takes chances. He tries to fit it in there where nobody else can, right? But when it's Jameis Winston, he's too risky. Let's make him a backup, this, that, and the third. Listen, he has a great personality. He's a great locker room guy. Great mentor for a young kid like Jackson Dart, veteran, knows the game, has played on multiple teams as a journeyman. Yep. And, I think he is a great guy to learn from if you're Jackson Dart. And I believe he should have started instead of Russell Wilson, to be honest with you.
Listen, I'm guilty. If my man Jay Ferris was here, he'll let you know I was all about that Russell Wilson starting the season off and letting Jackson Dart learn under Russell Wilson and get better and stuff like that. And then obviously that was wrong. You couldn't tell me anything week 2 though. When Russ
I agreed with you. I agreed with you until we saw how he came out and played.
Yeah,
I was on the same train. I was like, listen, let him sit for a year and learn under Russell Wilson and a Jameis Winston. He's got 2 great character guys there, team first guys there who can come in and work and not do nothing to tarnish the name off the field or outside of the facility. There's not 2 better guys to learn from character wise. So I was all on board with that until I saw the first 3 games and was like, ooh, throw Jameis in there. They elected to throw Dart in there because Brian Dable's job was on the line. So
yeah, I mean, it also ended up being the right move too at the time too. So shout out to LOL AWD says, let's be real, Giants have another rough schedule next season. He says, looks like to me they will be upgrading the defense this year. Giants can upgrade offense next season when they have more cap. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That cap that you think we have in 2027 is getting used up this year. We're gonna use some of that money this year. That's how some of these signings are gonna happen. They're gonna dig into.
They are in win now mode.
Yeah, and you can't listen. And I was all for the let's slow down. Let Harbaugh build this thing up. Let him do things the right way until Harbaugh told me something different with some of his actions. And if Harbaugh thinks we're gonna be competitive this year and he's pushing for that, who am I to tell him to say, nah, you know what, pump the brakes? I'm not telling that man to pump the brakes at all. My man Dealer, he agreed with you. He's about the whole Jameis thing. D-Dan said straight up 11-6, Lou. Just getting some love in the chat.
D-Dan Shelton, what's going on, bro?
JJ the King says, Dash, I told you that Dart was going to start sooner than later. Yes, you did. You did. You absolutely did. Coach Ed says Dart needs to refine his footwork for the West Coast offense. He can't throw off the back foot unless he's outside the pocket. That's one thing you see all over his tape. And some of those balls that were short or sailed on him was because his feet weren't set. We see the same things for sure, Coach. Shout out to my man, Coach Ed, in the building. Angelo Day says, trade Slayton for a key that don't open. Get him off our team. He also said give Slayton the wrong schedule. Have him in LA when we got a home game. So yeah, you know how it is when it comes to Slayton, man. Dealer also said, is that the right approach though? What's the saying? Just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it. Who you are reacting to? Because I feel the same way. I've been in arguments for it's been months now, but I've been in arguments, especially this week. You got so many people talking about you can create $100 million in cap space. And yes, you can create $100 million in cap space, but you got to turn around. You do got to spend at least some of it, maybe not the whole $100 million, because in order to get to $100 million, you're releasing players, you're trading players, you're structuring contracts, so you keep those players, but you can't create holes and just think that you're going to fill, 2 holes with one person. It's not going to work. So if go ahead.
Sorry. At the end of the day, Harbaugh wanted Dex. Him and Wink wanted Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
When they was at Baltimore together. He likes Jackson Dart. He likes Malik Neighbors. What he's been doing over there in Baltimore, was trying to get him a ring, a Lombardi.
Yeah.
He's been close. He's been in the playoffs here in the postseason for quite a few seasons now. He did not leave there and come here and expect anything less than that. He's not coming here to try to rebuild and take 3-4 seasons to go to the playoffs. That man is trying to prove something this season.
Facts.
And he's trying to prove what a lot of us content creators have been saying for a few years now. We have talent on this team. We can compete with this team. We just have not had coaches that can develop these guys, get them to the next level of their play, and put them in positions to win. We have not had that, which is why you've seen guys like Leonard Williams go to other teams, win Super Bowls, Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, who everybody said was trash, was in the MVP conversation until he tore his Achilles. So
That's a
that
source to me.
proves that we've had coaches here that couldn't coach their way out of a wet paper bag with scissors in their hands. So now we've got a proven head coach who's had a taste of winning and wants more. And he sees something in these young kids, like Dash alluded to earlier, about that energy that Dart brings to the field, that Scatterbo brings to the field, that Malik Neighbors brings to the field, that Darius Alexander and Dexter Lawrence, when he's healthy, brings to the field. Brian Burns, what Abdul Carter started bringing to the field towards the second half of the season. He sees the potential here. He has some of the ingredients to cook. Now he just needs to get the rest of the pieces in free agency in the draft. He's done some amazing things with the coaching hires. The culture is starting to shift. And once the offseason program really begins, you're going to see a different New York Giants team.
No, 100%. And then I also like, just a quick side note, I like that training camp is going to be in West Virginia. I like, and that was another thing people were arguing with me about, because I said, I like that they're going all the way out to West Virginia. And people say, well, it's because of the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be, at the facility, and the Giants can't be there. I'm saying that's cool. But they going all the way to West Virginia. The World Cup didn't send them all the way to West Virginia. I believe Harbaugh has something to do with that. And it's because he wants these guys to lock in. Just think about all of these training camps since they left Albany. All these training camps have been at home. These players get to go home after practice. They get to go home after training camp, to go home with their family. It's not that same type of feeling when you go out somewhere else and you build that camaraderie and you're around football players 24/7 for those,
you're locked in.
Those 2-3 weeks that you're in there before you start playing your preseason games and stuff like that. So seeing these guys lock in, build that camaraderie, I think that's going to be very, very important for, what John Harbaugh is trying to build and implement as far as bringing in his way of thinking. Not the Giants way, but the new New York Giants, the new John Harbaugh New York Giants way. Shout out to Chop and Screwed. He got a question. He says that Big Dash knows. He says, quick question. Rank the NFC starting quarterbacks going into next season. I'm assuming this is his. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Jackson Dart. I'm not going to sit here and be biased. That's exactly what I think. That's what I think the order is. As much as I love Jackson Dart, and I think he's going to be somewhere higher on this list at the end of next season, that's what it is going into this season. That's what it is.
That's a fact.
That's just me being fair, being honest. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback.
As much as I don't like it, it is true.
Oh, I hate it. I don't like giving nobody else credit in the NFC East. Nobody. And you said that the Washington Commanders don't bother you. The Washington Commanders,
they bother me.
Okay.
I just don't hate them as much as I hate Philly and Dallas.
After last summer, I won't say I hate them more than Philly. They're still in third place as far as hate. But the way that fan base was talking last year, how they rolled into the season on cloud 9, and boy, when that bubble burst and they let me tell you, as bad as the New York Giants were last year, I was still able to smile. And I want to thank the Washington Commanders for that. Seeing them fall from grace like that was fantastic for me. And that's not good to have on my soul, to see somebody else be down. But hey, it's football at the end of the day. But shout out to my man Chop and Screwed. I agree with you right now for sure. Luann says Dak hasn't won anything. Hate Dallas and the Eagles. Listen, I hate them too. And I don't want to admit that Dak sometimes plays very well. He does. I was happy that we beat Dallas, though, for the first time in a long time. Love that. I was happy we was able to beat the Eagles, too. The Washington Commanders were the only team to sweep us. But, hey, I think we got their asses next year, though. I see we hit the 2-hour, 15-minute mark. I'm going to wrap this thing up in just a moment. Get to more of these comments. Greg T says Cowboys was ass back then. Who you talking to? Because they've been for a while.
30 years of ass.
My man Lou Boogie NYC says that Big Dash knows in fairness the G-Men blew some leads last year. That's a fact. Not some, a lot. And when Harbaugh
6 fourth-quarter leads that we lost, to be exact.
Yeah, right. And he says when Harbaugh recruits tweaks of talent, do we agree we can be a force? Absolutely. What happened with Harbaugh in Baltimore? Because a lot of people say, oh, they still lost tight games. I mean, yeah, it's true. But when you look at the coaching staff, that team for the most part was always prepared. Playing so many seasons, 18 years, only had 3 losing seasons, I believe. It might have been 5 losing seasons. And in those losing seasons, I think the worst season was like 8-8 or something like that, something crazy. So for us, we haven't had even that type of success. And when you bring in somebody like Harbaugh and bring in a strong coaching staff, which I believe is a strong coaching staff, because how many former head coaches do you have? And then we talk about, well, those guys failed as head coaches. Well, they're not head coaches anymore. They're now positional coaches, and they're bringing all that knowledge that they did have from being head coaches to this team. So you got almost head coaches at the positional level.
And targeting it to specific positions.
Exactly. Yeah, and all they need players, though. That's it. They need some more playmakers. They need to add to the foundation. Dex is a foundational piece. Brian Burns is a foundational piece. The way that Abdul Carter is looking, he's a foundational piece. Now we need to find second level linebackers. We need to strengthen up this secondary for sure. I'm hoping that Adebo bounces back. I don't know what happened to Holland, but he needs to play better too. And then Nubin, he's on my side eye list right now because that's another guy that I fought for. But there's definitely some pieces here, even though it should be more with 4 years of Joe Shane, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But no, I do believe that that these guys can make a big leap. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I think that we
should have been gone together.
Oh yeah, you already know that.
I think they should have been gone together. A whole kit and caboodle.
That's a fact. Greg T says, my hate in the NFC goes Eagles, Cowboys, Redskins, and back in the day, the Cardinals. Yeah, remember that's way back when the Cardinals were in the division.
Yes, sir.
But that's an OG right there, Greg T. The Phoenix Cardinals, not even Arizona Cardinals.
Right, the Phoenix Cardinals.
Simeon says, I'd only bring in Wilkins if I could wheel him in like Hannibal Lecter. Listen, man, that is super. Wilkins is super Paulsworthy, man. He is diabolical when it comes to certain things he's doing on the field.
And that's the guy that played with Dex, right?
Yeah, at Clemson. Yep.
Yeah.
At Clemson. Yep. King Chris TV says trade Nubin and re-sign Belton. I don't know what's going to happen with Belton, man. It depends. It depends, man. Belton might be one of those late signings, man, that you see happen maybe after the draft, possibly, in my opinion.
Listen, and here's another thing. Don't be surprised if we pass on some names in this draft and bring in some very, very underrated, undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
I got Harbaugh is known for them UDFAs.
Listen, man. I think Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver from the Chiefs. I think he somehow makes it to the New York Giants. To add some, depth to this wide receiver room. And that's the thing. I don't think we go super flashy in a lot of these positions. I think we go for solid depth, filling out the room, and then in the draft, possibly if we do things the right way through free agency, we might be able to go BPA, like a true BPA, depending on what happens, in free agency. But
you sure you didn't watch my mock draft, bro? I about said the same shit verbatim.
You know why? Because we think the same. We've been listen, man. We've been rocking out for 3 years.
Yeah,
before that, 4 years actually. So yeah, man, we locked in. But Big Lou, go ahead. Before
you don't hop on my streams when I send you the links anymore, but
listen. Let me tell you something. I'm on Twitter all day. I think you send me the links the same time every day because once I log off of Twitter, I'm off. But guess what? You got my number though. You can text me directly, brother. You still got it, and then I'll get it that way because if I'm old, man, I go to sleep sometimes. I get relaxed. I get dinner, and that's it, man. That's it.
Like I said, I'm old. I go to sleep.
I'm watching tape. I don't even put that. Like I'm not on Twitter after like 7:00, bro. I'll be on there all day after 7:00. After I had some dinner, I'm watching some tape. I'm chilling with the family. Is it board
duly noted? Send it directly to the text.
Yeah, send it to the text. That way I get it for sure. But before we go, let the people know where they can find you, what you're doing, what you're up to. Again, fantastic Giants content creator, Big Lou, G Nation. Go ahead and do it yourself, though.
Appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate you having me on too, man. G Nation Inside Sports on YouTube, on X, and on TikTok. Mostly on YouTube though. Took a hiatus, had a battle with YouTube. They demonetized my channel. Now I'm in the process of trying to get my watch hours back up so I can reapply. Said something about somebody that got somebody's panties in a bunch.
You already know what it is.
It is what it is. We're men. We talk football. I also do boxing, leather to the face on Saturday nights. So tap in, man. If you're a gambler, if you love the combat arts, I'm 15-0 on my fight predictions. So if you're a man who likes to put money on the fights, come check me out on Saturday nights, leather to the face. I give you the rundown on who's going to get knocked out, who's going to go the distance, or whatever the case may be. But for all your football needs as well, G Nation Inside Sports, man. I appreciate Dash letting me come on here and plug my channel. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's looking up for the New York Giants, man, and I'm excited this year. As I said earlier, 11-6, back on my bullshit. You heard? So I look forward to chopping it up with you after some games, during some games, maybe calling some games together, because this season's gonna be exciting, man.
That's one thing I told the people, man. I can't call. I'm too emotional to call games. Either I'm silent or I'm yelling, and that's cursing, not good. Yeah. That's not good for the that's not
for the brand.
Views. But now I appreciate you, man. You have a good rest of your night, man. And don't forget, daylight saving time. Set your clocks. But now I appreciate you. All right. So we had almost 2.5 hours. Fantastic show tonight. I appreciate everybody for vibing. Still 200 strong in the building. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time here, hopefully you had a great time. Again, this is Big Blue Nation. If you bleed blue, then you're family. You're absolutely family. My man DL is still in the building. Says, appreciate the time, Dash. Good to see you out here. Lou, take it easy. Yeah, shout out again. Shout out to everybody. My man Mark Thompson said, good listening to the discussion tonight. Hopefully everybody had a good time, man. That's what I strive to do, is hopefully everybody feels included, that you're part of the chat. I know some places you might not see your comments on the board, and I've been there before when I was, commenting on the board. So hopefully everybody feels, included and vibing. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.